Oh, yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. You had better get them the heck up, get them going. It is a busy Tuesday, slow day in the world of sports for on-field activity, on-field news, but there is a ton of news in and around the general ATX sports conversation. Longhorn baseball, day 2 of the Major League Baseball draft. A couple Longhorns drafted, but maybe more significantly, who wasn't drafted yesterday. Looking forward to 2023 and 24. Also, David Pierce making some pretty major coaching staff changes and announcements. Big day over at Austin FC and Q2 Stadium. Their new sporting director was introduced. We'll introduce you to him. Also, the Pat Fitzgerald news from Northwestern. Home run derby last night in Major League Baseball. We got a lot to do. It is jam-packed on a Tuesday. It's also 7-11 day. That's right. The 11th day of the 7th month. June 11th is here. That means a free Slurpee over at 7-Eleven. So if you want to wait in line, you probably can get yourself a free one. It's going to be hot enough that you might need one of those wonderful, refreshing Slurpees this morning, 7-Eleven. It's also National Amazon Prime Day, the big Prime Day. If you know what that is, you know what that is. You're probably online already looking for deals. If you don't, probably don't know. We'll try to explain it to you what Amazon Prime Day is here on this Tuesday into tomorrow as well. And it's going to be a busy one. 4 hours of tremendous conversation begins right now with you here on the Show of the People. We appreciate you finding us however you do each and every day on 104.9, maybe 101.9 FM, AM 1260. Streaming always, making it easy to find us on your Horn app, on your smart speaker, and always, Mr. Godbolt, good morning, at hornfm.com.
Good morning to the soldiers at Fort Cavazos, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you so very much for you and what you do for us. We appreciate it each and every day. It will be a scorcher today.
Scorcher.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the start of about 3 days of just
searing.
Yeah. Put the bacon up on the hood.
Oh,
get
really?
some eggs. Get it done. You can get it done today.
How long will you think that would
Big
take
Breakfast
to cook?
Tuesday.
Big Breakfast Tuesday right on your dashboard.
Yeah, right on the dashboard. This will happen today.
Yeah, I would imagine that may be an experiment. I don't know. We'll do it in Ty's car. We could put some bacon on his dashboard.
I don't know. Not in the Blue Magoo. I don't think you want to do that.
Blue Magoo would be perfect. But you got to put it right in the sun at the heat of the moment.
Oh.
And walk
that baby
away
will
and just
sizzle.
Put a couple of fried eggs, a couple of pieces of thick cut bacon, maybe some Texas toast. See if you can get that.
Oh, God. Eat it right off the hood.
I bet you could. What do you think? What's the over under? 45 minutes? You're cooking. You're having a good breakfast right there. A little salt and pepper.
Quicker than that.
Think so?
Quicker than that. Yeah. If you do it around 1 o'clock, probably quicker than that. Yeah.
18 minutes.
Wow.
Oh man, 18. Ty says under 30. Dang. You scientists out there,
take a picture
go to work.
of that. Let's do that.
There are actual scientists who will calculate the molecule heat ratio thing deal, and they'll know exactly how long. I mean, each item, if we go, we'll take probably different. The bacon,
we can get a timer and go out there and figure out exactly how long.
Bacon would probably take the longest, right? That's meat.
Yeah, that would be a little testy.
Yeah,
especially if I go with the thick cut bacon.
Yeah,
I'm not sure the Texas toast would do much, but sounds good. Who doesn't like thick cut bacon on Texas toast, man? All right, making everybody hungry on an early Tuesday and a lot to do. It's going to be a busy one. We'll dive into the controversy at Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald is out as the head coach there about 3 days after he was given a 2-week suspension after a university investigation into the hazing allegations at Northwestern. That story is interesting to say the least. Also, we had home run derby last night in I just got to say, I picked, I don't know if I was picking or rooting for Mookie Betts. I just wanted to see how Mookie Betts was going to do. He was the worst, which was expected.
I think you were just rooting for him. He's not a home run guy.
Yeah, that's why I thought, man, maybe there's something. This guy entered into this or agreed to do it for a reason, but, he's not a home run hitter. He's a
baseball wanted to put some stars. He's a star.
He's a star.
And he decided to be part of it, which is a good thing.
Well, and, it's one of those things you love to have seen Shohei Ohtani. If the Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez hadn't been hurt, he might have jumped into that thing because he is a natural home run hitter with prodigious power. But, man, the Dominican Republic represented well last night. Rangers represented well. Let's get to the headlines, trending topics, including what I think was a great day for Texas baseball. Let's get you caught up on the news. UBO Business Services brings it to you. We'll start with the college football, and probably heard by now, but Northwestern has fired their head football coach Pat Fitzgerald amid the fallout from the university's investigation into hazing allegations within that football program. University President Michael Schill made the announcement official in a letter to the Northwestern community last night. We'll get you details on that. Pat Fitzgerald has also put out a statement of his own, which we'll get into this morning. Also, a home run derby last night ahead of tonight's All-Star game in Seattle. And what a show it was. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. won the All-Star home run derby, matching his father, Vlad Sr., in 2007 to become the first father-son duo to accomplish the feat. He was done in the ballpark, made famous by Ken Griffey Jr. a generation early. Guerrero beat Tampa's Randy Arozarena 25-23 in the final round. Pretty impressive. Adolis Garcia of the Rangers also had a pretty good run there. Julio Rodriguez, the homestanding young hitter for the Mariners, was in the semifinals. He had a record 41 home runs in the first round. Prodigious.
He's tired today.
He's got to be tired. I hurt my body watching it. Also, MLB Draft Day 2 yesterday. And yes, Texas, the program, did continue its incredible streak. A pair of likely now former Longhorns were selected on day 2 of the MLB draft. You probably know there has been at least one Longhorn selected in every MLB draft since it began in 1965. Well, appropriately, outfielder Dylan Campbell, he of the program's Big 12 and 38-game record hitting streak this past season, was the player to assure the program streak would be extended to 58 years when he was chosen by the LA Dodgers with pick 136. Then at pick 179, Chicago White Sox selected the Big 12 Pitcher of the Year, Lucas Gordon. Both are likely to sign major league contracts and begin their pro careers. Only one member of the Longhorns' 2023 high school signing class was picked yesterday, and that came early with the first pick of day 2. Pick 71, Round Rock High right-hander Travis Sikora, selected by the Washington Nationals. 6'6" flamethrower set for a big payday now with the Nats. Just as notable, though, for David Pearson, the program, who wasn't picked on day 2. Starting pitchers Tanner Witt and LeBaron Johnson Jr. did not get drafted, greatly increasing the chances that they will return to the program in 2023. In addition, no other Longhorn commitment from the high school ranks was taken yesterday. That includes their top remaining commitment, Will Gasparino, the 6'6", 215-pound outfielder from Harvard, California. He is the son of the director of amateur scouting for the LA Dodgers. He was not taken in the first 10 rounds. He immediately indicated on social media that he's planning to come and play for Texas on the 40 acres. The third and final day of the draft is set for today with rounds 11 through 20. Texas head coach David Pierce also announced several staff changes yesterday on his coaching staff. That includes the return of former Major League All-Star Troy Tulowitzki to the staff after a year out. He will return to the staff as the program's Director of Player Development. Caleb Longley has been named the staff's third assistant behind bench coach Steve Rodriguez. Philip Miller is moving back into a coaching role. And most importantly, Coach Pierce announced that he will take over as the team's pitching coach with the assistance from developmental assistant Chris Gordon. Big day at Q2 Stadium yesterday as well. Austin FC officially introduced Rodolfo Burrell as the club's new sporting director. 52-year-old comes in with quite the resume. He spent nearly a decade at the most dominant club in the world, Manchester City, in the English Premier League. He served as the club's global technical director and then as the first assistant coach. He's got over nearly 3 decades in soccer. Also worked at FC Barcelona and Liverpool.
Boy, Julio's got some tired forearms this morning.
He's a talented young man.
Wow.
That's, like
that place is went crazy.
Talk about it in the NBA with all the young talent and seeing Wembanyama, shut down now by the Spurs, but man, a couple of games, a lot of young players, and then, in a global game like baseball, just like basketball, players from all over the world starring last night. We know Shohei Ohtani, best player in the world right now, and he's got that blister on his finger, so he didn't participate last night. Shohei could have been out there whacking home runs if he wanted to. But, man, Julio Rodriguez, your reigning American League MVP, plays center field, speed, and, man, the pop and the bat. And that's kind of how I am. I know Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets the trophy. It's great for he and his dad, first father-son duo to do that. And he's a prodigious home run hitter himself with tremendous raw power. But I always just remember the moments, right? I mean, Josh Hamilton at Yankee Stadium, he didn't win the home run derby that year, but that's all I remember is him
knocking him out,
home run after home run at Yankee Stadium. And Julio Rodriguez with 41 home runs last night. Randy Arozarena with that quick bat and that quick twitch. He had 40 at one point, and he just wore himself out. I mean, Randy Arozarena was over by that final stretch. I mean, but it was compelling. It was cool to see. It took a while, but in the end, I thought it was good TV last night to watch the home run derby. I'll also say this, Buck, to start. I don't know soccer on a global level, but really does sound like this guy Austin FC has hired is quite the badass. I mean, what a Rodolfo Burrell, they call him Robo.
Yeah, he seems very aggressive in what some of the things he wants to do. Golly,
I mean, it just, as we try to learn global soccer and through all MLS and through Austin FC, what we're learning about Austin FC is the ownership group and Anthony Precourt are going to go for it, right? This is not going to be one of those
wait around 5 years and try to get it going.
Just happy to be here organizations. They're going to.
They'd like to win and
they'll
win now.
They'll spend money and they're in and to go over and pluck this guy off Manchester City. I mean, that's a power program. Obviously, we'll try to get some intel from our soccer experts, but seems like a home run hire no pun intended, from the home run derby last night, maybe even a grand slam. He will now come in and work with Josh Wolf, replacing Claudio Reyna, to build that roster, build that team, and build the whole organization. Because, right, it's one of the things Rodolfo Borrell did before on his climb was he was at FC Barcelona,
right,
when Lionel Messi was in their developmental system. So he's a technician of soccer, development of soccer players. And, of course, Austin FC has their clubs and their juniors teams, and he'll be a part of a huge overseer of that as well. So big day there. And as I mentioned in the headlines, what a big day for Texas baseball. Congratulations to Dylan Campbell and Lucas Gordon and, Travis Sikora, pick 71. All three of those guys are going to go be pro baseball players, you have to imagine. But, man, I don't know, I think anybody would have thought when Sunday and Monday came and went that LeBaron Johnson Jr. would not be drafted for whatever reason. Tanner Witt, who, if not for the Tommy John injury of 2 years ago, would have been was projected as a top 15 kind of draft pick overall, and obviously he's not back there yet. But, man, those two guys are likely to be back on your pitching staff in 2023 and into 24. And Will Gasparino, if you looked at like MLB rankings of draft prospects, there was one list, I think it was Baseball America, they had Will Gasparino and Tanner Witt as number 75 and number 76 as far as overall prospects in this draft.
Yep.
The top 100 players didn't get drafted, which, again, everybody has their reasons. But if you're David Pierce and the Longhorns, you to get Will Gasparino, who has already said he's coming to campus, 6'6", 215-pound outfielder who is just toolsy as he can be. And as I mentioned in the headlines, he's the son of the director of amateur scouting for the Dodgers, so he comes from a baseball world and knows how to, fundamentally. And then you're looking at Tanner Witt, and man, think about LeBaron Johnson Jr. potentially moving to your Friday night starter role and continuing to evolve as a pitcher the way he finished the year. That's a good day. And none of the other Longhorns, a kid named Casey Borba out of California, also not drafted. And the rule of thumb now is generally that if you go in the top 10 picks, you're probably going to sign, or almost certainly going to sign. If you don't, you probably won't. You will probably go play college baseball. And
once again, I'll just say the competition in college baseball is thriving now. I mean, this is
coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Major League Baseball wants it.
Oh, yeah, I think they do too.
Yeah, if we're not willing to take you in the first 10 rounds, go play college baseball, play 3 years, show us, play against a high-level competition, get developed by great coaches.
Don't be on buses, be in that social atmosphere and get your degree.
Kid.
Yeah, try to start your degree.
We'll have a look at you in 2-3 years now. The third player in the draft was a high school player, so it's not like Major League teams won't take high school players.
They'll take the great ones, yes.
Yeah, but and today you could expect to see a lot of college players drafted, rounds 11 through 20. Garrett Gummett, the Longhorn catcher, Porter Brown. These guys expected to hear their names, but only 2 so far. And congratulations to Dylan Campbell, the LA Dodgers. Also congratulations to Lucas Gordon, and the streak lives 58 years now. Every draft they've ever had, a Longhorn has been drafted. That's pretty darn impressive for Longhorn baseball. Also on the coaching side, I know there were some raised eyebrows when David Pierce named himself the pitching coach. And you know what's funny about that is that's something that hit my mind when this all began, when Woody Williams, it was announced, would not return. I thought, I wonder if David Pierce is just going to take over the pitching.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a pitching coach, right? Correct?
A great one. When Rice was going to College World Series with Wayne Graham and we're producing MLB pitchers like crazy.
Well, hell, if you're changing pitching coaches every year, you might as well do it yourself.
Well, I'll give credit to our friend Jeff Howe from Light the Tower, who covers that baseball program as good as anybody. He said it on his show one day. I was driving home after the show when we handed the baton to those guys at 10 o'clock. And he mentioned, he said, I think David Pearson is trying to find a pitching coach who would coach pitchers like he would.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe he'll just take it.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to, he wants to coach the pitchers. But the ability to get Troy Tulowitzki back into the program, Steve Rodriguez, who came in from Baylor, who's been 20 years a manager.
Yeah, getting a second year around.
Yeah, you have an experienced coaching staff now where Steve Rodriguez was a head coach at a major program at Baylor, at Pepperdine before that. So it had, 20 years a manager. So you have that experience on your staff. You have Troy Tulowitzki now, who was such a
would that have been a third pitching coach in a row he would have had to go get?
Yeah.
That would make you start thinking you might as well do it yourself.
Well, and some will say that David Pierce has a little bit of a control complex here. Okay, but he's the manager, he's the coach, he's the boss, he's the head of the program, and he clashed with Sean Allen And, Sean Allen was the pitching coach the year when they went to the College World Series a couple of years ago.
I thought Woody had done a good job.
I think, yeah, but I just think it's clash of personalities and clash of coaching styles.
Yeah, this is what I want. Okay, then do it yourself.
And we see
you got the ability to do it yourself. You're the head coach.
Well, you were a football coach, but, a head coach who likes to call his own
play.
We might see the same thing with Jimbo Fisher down at A&M
right.
with Bobby Petrino coming in, right? Doesn't mean the other guy's not doing a good job. It's just not how you would have done it. It's just different. And,
then I'm hoping not to see David Pierce on third base then anymore. I mean, or doesn't he just give up that? He's got to give up something.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll hopefully talk to Coach Pierce.
Or his head is
going
to explode. We'll see him on third base when his head falls off.
Hopefully get a chance to talk to Coach Pierce as the dust settles on the draft today and, these announcements are made and he can come up and take a deep breath. But, that does make sense to me. I mean, again, you can disagree with it and think it's not a good move for the program. But David Pierce, somebody who has had high-level success in his career coaching pitching, developing pitching, and now maybe he's built the staff around him that will allow him the time and the freedom to
He knows
do that.
what he wants, and that's fine.
And, doesn't mean it's going to work. I will also give David Pierce this credit that he's putting himself out there. He understands.
Well, yeah, that's one of those last stops on the bus stop.
Well,
if you do
it's one
that.
of those. If your pitching staff falls apart, because the clash of coaching styles, the pitching staff was the number one pitching staff in baseball when they went to the College World Series in Omaha 2 years ago with Sean Allen. They were top 10 this year with Woody Williams. So it wasn't like the pitching development was bad. But so if it doesn't improve or it gets worse, well, then that's going to be on the head coach, and everybody's going to be able to see that. But it's David Pierce taking control of his program, and I do believe it's the additions of Steve Rodriguez, the return of Troy Tulowitzki, the comfortability he has with those guys that they can work together to build the best.
And he
coaching
can work
staff
even
possible.
closer with the pitching.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. And there's another part of that, and that's Chris Gordon, who came in from Duke last year and was a developmental coach on their staff, and he already feels comfortable with him. So, it'll free him up, Chris, to kind of work in tandem to coach up the pitchers, and kind of looks like they could have Tanner Witt. Think about it, let Tanner Witt with another offseason, rehab, get that arm right. And if you have a healthy Tanner Witt, as healthy as he can get, who's got a chip on his shoulder, who after not being drafted in the first 10 rounds, he'll be looking to put himself back into the, mind's eye of pro scouts, which he was coming out of high school. And LeBaron Johnson Jr., if he continues on his trajectory, he could become, top of the rotation staff ace as well. Though both of those guys have high ceilings, which is exciting. And with Lucas Gordon moving on, and we'll see how the rest of the pitching staff evolves and develops. But that's pretty
good for Texas baseball, right there.
Pretty good place to start. And now you add a young freshman like Will Gasparino. If you watch him on film out of California, really impressive player. Jalen Flores and Jared Thomas and some of those young guys that were in this year that got a lot of experience. You can see the formation of a pretty good potential roster for the Longhorns in 20 and 23 into 24. So just a busy day yesterday. A lot happening, a lot going on. It's usually the slowest time for sports, but that all went down for Texas baseball. Q2 Stadium was hopping. Pat Fitzgerald let go, and home run derby with the All-Star game tonight. Dusty Baker handing the ball to Garrett Cole. It's weird for me. I watched the press conference yesterday a little bit with Dusty Baker and the NL manager from the Phillies, and with Garrett Cole. Since as an Astros fan, it's hard for me to see him clean shaven.
That's
when
right.
you move to New York, you got to shave it all off.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He always had that facial hair with the Astros. He just looks so baby faced and young. Garrett Cole, one time a number 1 overall pick of the amateur draft out of UCLA. He will start his first All-Star game. Dusty Baker said, I was looking for somebody who wanted the ball. Framber Valdez, his own ace on his own staff, wanted the ball, but Dusty Baker said, no. You just pitched on Saturday.
No.
We have enough problems.
Yeah.
I got enough issues in Houston. You're not pitching. Hey, Framber, take a rest. Maybe no team in baseball needs a week off like the Astros do with all the injuries they've had, and they need time off their feet.
Bravo to Major League Baseball last night. They did a good job.
That was fun.
It really was. They've made the All-Star game fun. It's hard. Others have tried. Well, they're trying, and others haven't tried hard enough. Like the NFL All-Star game, you can forget about that thing. And, of course, the NBA and all that dunk stuff, nobody even watches that anymore. I mean, so it's Major League Baseball at least tries to get their stars. Like I said, Mookie Betts out there last night. It's just good to see your stars go out there and say, you know what, I'll give this a try. I'm a good athlete. Maybe I can go
have
up
fun
there.
with it.
Yeah, I'll have some fun. I'll take some swings out there.
Well, and it's a competition, but at the same time, if you can't tell how seriously the players take it, Just watching their interaction.
Their interaction was great last night.
That's a big deal, man. I mean, and
that ballpark was hopping last night.
It really was. Well, and that's good because Seattle can sometimes be a tough home run park.
Yeah.
It's a big park, and if you get that,
that moisture
blowing in off the Puget Sound and off the water, it can become a heavy air kind of situation. The ball was flying last night, and we've never seen anybody hit 41 home runs in one round, have we? I mean, that was a new record. I was watching while recording our new Eyes on Texas multicast last night with our buddy Mike Craven, so I was kind of keeping my eye on it and looking up going, he's at 40 home runs? Holy cow. That's incredible. I didn't know that we'd get to that number in that ballpark.
It's a good pitching going on, too.
Oh, yeah. Those guys got to know where to throw it.
He had some can of corns up there. I'm telling you, they just put it on the tee for him last night.
Yeah, well, that's the goal of that pitching coach. Sometimes your pitcher can kill you if he's not giving you the cheddar, man, giving you that cheese that you can just launch. But what'd you make of El Bombe? Adolis Garcia.
I did not watch. I'm not gonna lie. I went to a concert.
Oh, what'd you go to?
I went to Bob Schneider.
Bob Schneider at the Saxon Pub.
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
Monday night hopping at the Saxon.
What is this, Lonely Land set?
Yeah. I went on a little man date. Good time.
Mandate. Were you mandated to go on a date? But it was a date with a man?
Well, he's just one of my friends.
One of your buddies.
Dude date, huh?
Just drinking some beer. Having
There you go.
I didn't know that you called that a mandate.
Drinking some beer.
Makes sense now. I mean, I just have never heard the term.
Yeah.
It's like we learned the term from you and some others. Darty, right? A day party is a darty.
Yeah.
I learned that.
I've kind of been saying mandate a lot.
So it was just dudes being dudes.
Yeah.
Last night.
It was a one-on-one situation. Just talking there was an older lady there that was talking to us.
There you go. Just dudes being dudes.
Good-looking mother.
Hey now. Cougars. And if you want to have a mandate, what better than the venerable Saxon Pub on South Lamar that's still cranking, still intimate, still rocking and rolling.
That was really cool. I've never seen him there before.
Bob Schneider?
I've seen Bob Schneider. I've never seen it
in that
venue. Yeah.
Oh man, it's about as intimate as it gets.
Wow.
It's a tiny little place with a cool bar.
It's almost like a comedy show as well.
Yeah. Well, that's Bob Schneider. Bob Schneider could be a stand-up comedian. He literally could. He is. He is. He'll make you. He'll entertain you musically, but he'll also make you laugh in a big way. So. Yeah, it's a busy Tuesday, slow week of the year, but man, a lot going on. We'll take your thoughts on Texas baseball. What say you on David Pierce taking the reins of the pitching staff, saying, you know what, if I can't find somebody who will do it how I want it done, I'll do it.
This is where your fans take their shots now. They give you the old, well, if you can't do it, then that's it.
Well, I mean, look, it would be riskier if he hadn't done it at a very high level in the past, right?
If he just decided that he's going to do this because he can't get along with his pitching coaches, that would be different.
That would be problematic. But, at Rice with Wayne Graham, he was the pitching coach, and they were going and winning college championships.
Yeah,
and,
it's very similar, like you said, to a guy who wants to call his plays. He has an offensive coordinator, but he had not given up that right to do that as the head coach.
Yeah, and I think it's somewhat ballsy for David Pierce to go there, and I think it's huge for the program to get Troy Tulowitzki back. That's that guy.
Oh, for sure.
Infectious with the players. And I think he was missed last year. Just the way he comes to the ballpark every day, the way and remember, he's in a non-coaching, non-recruiting role.
Right.
But the title is, player development, and then develop. And that's what Troy Tulowitzki's all about, connecting with the players, helping them become better ball players, working on, the issues that he sees in their game.
Pro.
Yeah. Well, and again, the message from Troy is, Tulo, here's what I'm seeing. Let's work on it. Let's get you to the major leagues. Let's get you to pro ball. All of you here have an opportunity to do that. Let's work on the things that they want you to work on, because I can spot them and help you develop a plan to improve.
That's for sure.
In that realm. So he is the staffs and programs director of player development. David Pierce taking over as the pitching coach. All right, we'll come back. A lot to chew on there, obviously. We'll get some B&E facts of the day. It is 7-Eleven Day, 7-Eleven, July 11th. Get out and get your Slurpee. We'll talk some other issues there. A lot going on. B&E on a Tuesday. Yeah, that's right. One Source Gas. My buddy Richard Strieber and his team there helping you with your compressed gas needs and helping us get to Big 12 football media days tomorrow. Crew will head out, or some will head out Wednesday morning, some today, to get ready for 2 days of college football conversation from Arlington, Wednesday and Thursday. With, as we've said, we won't be up there because there's not much happening at all in the morning, so not very much of a point to head up there, but our afternoon shows will be on point and ready to go with live conversations. Those are always fun because you know what you're going to get, but then you don't know, right? The wild cards, who's going to sit down at any given moment, coach from one of the 14 teams, a player from one of the teams, and Brett Yormark, the commissioner, could sit down at any minute with one of our shows as they come. So looking forward to that over the next couple of days. It really launches some big time college football conversations with the Longhorns, the favorite for the first time since they've gone to the divisionless format in the Big 12. The Longhorns are the pick to win the thing.
The darlings.
And there'll be some storylines, my friend. Also want to thank our friends at Hayes City Store and Ice House. Hayes City Store and Ice House and One Source Gas helping us get there. Travis Tyndall and his team, Tamara and the folks. Also Taste on Main. They have a great second restaurant now in Buda, downtown Buda on Main Street. It's called the Taste on Main. It is phenomenal. If you love oysters and steaks and seafood, that's where you're going to find it. And if you love good old scratch comfort food, you're going to get out to Hayes City Store in Driftwood, Texas. So 2 days of coverage coming. And, man, storylines, Buck, at the Big 12 Media Days. You don't think Quinn Ewers is going to be quite the rock star? Longhorns are taking a quarterback for the first time since 2019. Quinn Ewers with the haircut, the toned body, and a lot of preseason hype. You know, he'll be there, which means – with that
felt body of his?
Yeah. I mean, the Longhorns are going with Steve Sarkisian, who always dresses well. He dresses the part. He'll be looking
that's
good.
Right.
And the Longhorns are day one. They're Wednesday, right? There are 4 of the schools from Texas in the Big 12, or 4 of them are going Wednesday. The other, only 1 on Thursday. So it'll be a lot of Lone Star coverage on day one tomorrow. But Sark will be there with Quinn Ewers, Xavier Worthy from his offense. Byron, they're taking Jade Barron, Jalen Ford, the linebacker and preseason All Big 12 defense. Your preseason
defense. Barron, the guy who's everywhere.
Yeah, he and Jalen Ford, right? Jalen's been picked to be the defensive player of the year in the Big 12 conference. So, so that the representation will be there tomorrow. We will be representing with the Horn, and excited to bring that to you.
Yeah, I'm going to love this defense if guys stay healthy.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, that's the step forward. I still think there's questions on the edges. But strong up the middle, the Texas defense in 2023. I mean, when you're talking about Byron Murphy, Tavondre Sweat right up the point of attack, right? Byron Murphy's preseason All Big 12. Tavondre Sweat had a look at the NFL and decided to come back to anchor that line. They had the Minnesota transfer, Trill Carter, who played a lot of football in the Big Ten. You've also got, Alfred Collins. Is this his year where the switch comes on? Vernon Broughton. All those guys are playing the interior defensive tackle positions, and that's pretty deep group for Bo Davis. And you have Jalen Ford behind them, and behind them at your safety position, it's you mentioned Jade Barron, and you're talking about Jalen Catalon, the Arkansas transfer, if he can stay healthy, and then Keaton Crawford.
This is one of those years where you really know. I mean, they're not glaring deficiencies, but you know you have them on the outside. You have to be able to hold a post. You know what I mean? And can they do it? Can they hold that perimeter? When teams say we're going to get outside of you, and they just do. This is one where you got to force them back inside to a very good linebacker and some really good secondary guys that come through, but they don't have to get through the lanes. They want to play. They can outplay inside out instead of outside in because they can't have teams that'll bounce outside for 6 yards and 7 yards and get first downs in the run game on them.
No. If
they can have somebody that can just cover that perimeter, I think that'll be huge. Force everything in to where the really good players are, the good tacklers are.
And they're so much better last year than they were the year previous. I mean, light years better.
Yeah, and I'd hate to see Catalan have to come up and make a bunch of I know
he will
do. He'll give up his body. That's the thing. Guys with the shoulders are generally those guys that give up that body a lot. They come in there and they're hard hitters. They're not the greatest of tacklers, but they lead kind of funny, tie with the shoulder. But they'll go get you. They'll come and get you.
Who, are you talking about DBs or linebackers?
DBs.
So like an Anthony Cook kind of.
Oh yeah,
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown. Yeah. Who else? Who was our guy? He's a guy who got drafted, came in as a great freshman. We should throw his body all over.
Hill.
No, yeah. Why am I not thinking of his?
I mean, I remember Chris Brown doing that all the time, and it would be like 12 yards down the field. He'd get a big hit and act like it was one of those TV celebrations.
Was it
where he
Steele
acts
that he played at?
You're talking about
came in as a freshman. It was just fabulous. I watched him. Yeah,
Caden Stearns.
Caden Stearns.
Oh,
I mean,
Caden
just nuts. But I always said he's going to knock himself out. He's going to play to a
BJ
point where
Foster too.
Well, I think Caden. To me, I'll just to take Caden Stearns a step further. Caden Stearns to me is the poster child for what was and versus what is now, or what you think can be for Texas, and that's development of players. Because Caden Stearns came in from Cibolo Steel and was an immediate stud. And I don't say he got worse, but he didn't get better. I mean, players weren't developing.
Just kind of stayed the same,
right?
Yeah.
Players weren't developing under Steve Sarkisian, under Tom Herman and his staff. I mean, the offensive line was not getting better; it was getting worse. I mean, guys were not improving. Their best years were their first years.
But Caden Stearns has been developed in the NFL, so
that's why he left, right?
Well, yeah.
He left after his third year when he was eligible because his value was dropping. So he's like, "Well, I'm just going."
Yeah, and he would come up and knock himself out. I was like, damn, isn't there a different way to tackle than leading with that shoulder and that head and all that stuff?
I'll say at least one of the reasons for optimism, or of the many, is that what we saw on development side last year.
Yes.
Jalen Ford from 3-star player
absolutely.
Who when the season began, it was all about DeMarvion Overshone and what was he going to be? Well, DeMarvion developed and got better, and now is playing for the Dallas Cowboys. And it was the development of Jalen Ford, the development of the offensive line. This staff can coach. This staff can develop. At least they've shown that over 2 years and now year 3. And if that continues, I mean, that's where you recruit great talent, develop the talent, and then
it's not always about the big hit. It's about
fundamentals.
And everybody.
As you always saw being in the right running lane.
And the fit.
Taking the right angle. Yeah,
yes.
the fits mean everybody's running
absolutely
and doing their job. That was so much better from year 1 to year 2. That's development. And as I've said many times, if you want to look at a reason why maybe the most impactful freshman on this football team, Anthony Hill Jr. from Denton, Texas, the Denton 5-star.
That's true. The way he can get coached, you're right.
The reason he switched from A&M to here was what he saw with the development of Jalen Ford. Saying, wait a second, look at that guy. He's gone from who is this guy to all Big 12. And then he's watching down at Texas A&M where he had been committed, and he's like, what's going on here?
Right.
And, admittedly, he was like, no, I'm going to Texas. And that's optimistic for Texas that they're coaching these guys up so talented players actually get better. And if that's the case, this team has a chance, and the things are pointing in the right direction. We'll see. You're right, though, continuing to get better on the perimeter, getting better on the edges. And, maybe this year, speaking of Anthony Hill, with the loss of DeMarvion Overshone to the NFL, he just becomes that guy that move him around and let him rush the passer, create havoc off the edge. Let all the rest of your 10 guys do fundamental stuff and let him learn the game, but also put his athleticism to work for you. They also have that star position, right? And this defense, that's important, and that's Jahdae Barron, right? Jahdae and Jalen Gilbo and those guys, they've got to be able to make plays as well because you're part defensive back, you're part linebacker, you got to cover tight end.
And that's why I like him so much because he has really nice form when it comes to tackling.
Yeah.
He understands that I can't just throw my body because he's not a big kid. He can't just whip his body into running backs going full speed. He knows how to tackle. That's an art. That's not. A lot of guys know how to missile themselves into guys, and they come up on the worst end of
tackle style, which is what you're
There's a lot less missed tackles than there used to be.
So they've learned how to tackle. They've developed. Somebody's taught them how to actually tackle.
And it's tangible. You can see it. I can say it on the radio, though they're developing players. Well, Jalen Ford. Look at the defensive tackles and the defensive line for Bo Davis last year. Steve Sarkisian says Bo Davis is the best defensive line coach in America. Well, Keandre Coburn had his best year last year, got drafted. These guys are getting
more
Ojimo.
Right.
These guys are getting coached. Then you talk to the players and like, oh yeah, I feel offensive line. It was pretty clear Herb Hand was not developing an offensive lineman. Kyle Flood is developing offensive linemen, and that's the encouraging. And Steve Sarkisian has a history of developing quarterbacks. I think you feel pretty good about Tashard Choice with the running backs. You
have a top 2 maybe in the nation receiving room.
Yeah, and you brought in an NFL coach.
That's right,
Chris Jackson to be your receivers coach, and Kyle Flood's coaching tight end, or Kyle Flood, Jeff Banks coaching tight ends. You feel
now you've got his special teams coach.
Oh yeah, well the advisors, gosh, the special assistants.
God, it's Kool-Aid time, isn't it?
It is. It's after July 4th. It's gonna be hot.
There's a lot to like. This is all gas, no excuses, y'all. If it doesn't work, if they don't win the Big 12. It's going to be an excuse at this point.
I was watching some highlights when I came in this morning. I'm not going to lie.
Come on now.
Okay, going through and put some live shoes in there.
I was watching Quinn drop them bombs.
Drop them bombs?
Oh, yeah. I forgot how pretty that looks.
Hey, listen, Quinn dropping
Drop them bombs, catch them bombs.
I have to say, looking at the 2 days of Big 12 Media Days, so tomorrow will be Baylor, the 7 teams a day, and the 14-team unicorn season in the Big 12. Unicorn meaning this will be the only one with these 14 teams, because Texas and Oklahoma are headed out with the new 4 headed in. Baylor, BYU, Houston, Kansas, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Texas will be present tomorrow. So obviously you're looking for the headliners. When we're up there, Buck, who gets the biggest media throngs? Sark and Texas will get huge coverage. Quinn Ewers will be, the center of attention of a lot. Everybody's going to want to talk to Quinn. And then TCU's there, and it's going to be interesting to see with Sonny Dykes. Last year they were kind of a forgotten. No, look, there's Sonny Dykes. Oh, look, there's TCU. And the question,
it's his first year.
And the question was, where's Gary Patterson? Oh, we miss Gary Patterson. Well, they went and played for the national championship, and so obviously there'll be a lot of attention on Sonny and the ability to get this thing. They've been picked to finish 5th, and which will be a lot of conversation from 12-0 and in the Big 12 title game to pick 5th. There'll be some chips on the shoulder there. Obviously, Dana Holgorsen from Houston. A lot of questions about where his program is right now. BYU's a new program. Dave Aranda will be there tomorrow, which should be fun. And of course, Mike Gundy. With
always fun.
The colorful one. He will be there tomorrow, too. So, yeah, day one is jam-packed with a lot of compelling
asked
stories.
A lot of questions about playing Oklahoma for the last time. You think that'll be he doesn't want to talk. He just we're done. That's it.
Let's talk about his son maybe being the quarterback at some point this year.
Where?
He's going to have to talk about that.
Oh, he might, because I don't think he has one. Spencer Sanders is at Ole Miss now in year 27.
Yeah.
Is Spencer Sanders even going to start?
I don't know. I mean, how many quarterbacks is Lane Kiffin's collecting over there?
Well, Jackson Dart sucks. So.
Well, think about this. I don't know. I'm not sure what the Big 12 is doing. I mean, day one includes Dave Aranda, who's interesting.
Yes. And his quarterback, is he going to get back to it?
Right. Dana Holgorsen is a personality. Mike Gundy, Sonny Dykes, and Sark with Texas, which is always the biggest draw. Day two, outside of Oklahoma, where you have the Red Bull, the walking Red Bull, Mr. Excitable Brett Venables. Yeah, West Virginia.
Is BYU on day 2?
No, they're day 1.
Are they?
Cincinnati
cool.
with their new head coach, Scott Satterfield. We get to meet him on Thursday. Milquetoast Matt Campbell, who I like a lot, but he's kind of dull. K-State, Chris Kleiman, coach of the year last year, along with Sonny Dykes.
He's a good talk. He's a good.
So the center of day 2 for me is Brett Venables and then Joey McGuire. Joey McGuire and Texas Tech on day 2. But the only Texas-based Big 12 school on day 2 is Texas Tech. The other 4 are on day 1: Texas, TCU, Baylor, and Houston.
Ty, what do you think about Slovis for BYU? Can he get? Is this one of these quarterbacks
that's at BYU now?
Yeah, Keaton Slovis. He like.
Dude, is that
JT
another
Daniels.
ninth year?
Yeah.
Vagabond.
What's up with all these old USC quarterbacks that just transfer across?
I remember
the
he was a freshman. Did he get hurt when he was a freshman?
That was the year that USC had 4 quarterbacks get hurt, and they all ended up transferring. That's crazy. And JT Daniels was one of them, I think. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
I like Slovis more than JT Daniels. I'll say that. And usually BYU slings that thing around the field, so I'm excited to see how they perform this year.
Of the 14 teams, 9 will bring quarterbacks, darling. 9 of the 14. Baylor's bringing Blake Shapen. BYU will bring Keaton Slovis. UCF is bringing their quarterback John Rice Plumlee, which was
another old dude,
guy to get to know. Yeah. Houston, Cincinnati not bringing quarterbacks. Iowa State not bringing quarterback. Kansas will bring the preseason Offensive Player of the Year Jalen Daniels when they're there tomorrow.
Will Howard's coming.
Yeah, Wilt Howard from K-State, Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma. TCU not bringing Chandler Morris. TCU not bringing their quarterback. I think a lot of that is, the question would be, how do you follow Max Duggan? How do you follow Max Duggan? How do you follow Max Duggan? Just look, Sonny Dykes is going to bring. Jared Wiley's going. Remember the former Longhorn tight end?
Yeah.
He'll be there tomorrow with TCU.
Got a couple key passes for them in their run.
But Texas is bringing Quinn Ewers. Texas Tech and Joey McGuire bringing Tyler Shuck, their quarterback. But so 9 teams. The 5 that aren't bringing a quarterback: West Virginia, TCU, Oak State, and Iowa State. And Houston not bringing quarterbacks. So there we go.
Is Neil Brown still the coach at West Virginia?
Barely.
He is, but
I
he's
like
still
Neil
there.
Brown. I still like Neil Brown.
But he's there, right? He's still the guy.
And I think Neil Brown. How many Bob Huggins questions will Neil Brown be asked?
Oh man!
Hey, have you talked to Bob Huggins? Is Bob Huggins trying to get back in?
Bob Huggins might show up. He might drive down there.
Yeah,
I want my job back. All right, that's good stuff. We'll be back. Big 12 Football Media Days brought to you by Hay City Store, and of course, One Source Gas, that'll be coming up tomorrow and Thursday. Looking forward to it. David Pierce making coaching staff changes. Longhorns, the draft, very good to the Longhorns yesterday. Day 2, we'll get to the details there. It's a busy morning on what's typically a slow time in sports. Not today. We're jam-packed here on B&E.
set out to climb a mountain and conquer the known world. You bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on track to self-destruct, oblivious in a rush.
B&E Facts of the Daytime here on B&E. It is a fact. That's right. Show the people rolls on a Tuesday. You know our guy Sal?
Which one? I mean, we got
not Sal in New York, but Sal Olivares.
Yeah.
Sal, the steakhouse guy.
Yes, sir.
A great friend of our show for a long, long time. He just texted us with a picture of he and his son this morning in Spain, in Pamplona. They ran with the bulls. And he sent us a picture, and they're still living.
By the way, Sal, your son looks faster.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what. Sal looks like he still get it up and down. Sal used to play rugby back in the day. I do know that. Sal used to bring it on the rugby field, but Sal's a good dude.
Yeah, he looks like his son's going to dodge a couple bulls, but Sal looks like it's a one-on-one battle.
Ty, you say you know people who have run with the bulls.
Yes.
You have not.
I have not, but I had a few friends that I've know people. I see people on my Instagram feed that are over there every year. I don't quite have the cashola for that. But.
Yeah, that's expensive. The cashola or the Stonezola?
Oh, I'd do it.
I know you would.
Oh, yeah, he'd do it for sure.
I guess you could do. I'm sure someone's got like the how-to guide to run with the bulls.
You just got to be a little nimble, quick on your feet.
Dude, all you got to do is stumble once. And
we were talking about on
Saturday. One stumble.
Some dude in front of you slows down, and you're like, whoa.
Casey Sutter said he'd be the bull. He'd be
just running over everybody.
He'd get to the finish or whatever, and just be like, oh, didn't even see a bull that entire time, just knocking people over. Oh man, yeah. No, you gotta be careful, but I think that'd be a good time. I'm assuming there's drinking involved as well.
This guy said running with the bulls is July 7th. Well, he sent us a picture that he was going to be 1 a.m. Austin time. They'd be running. So
there was definitely people running last weekend.
Yeah, and I don't
know. Maybe it's different parts.
Maybe it starts July 7th
Spain.
and goes on for the week. I don't know. I'm not going to sit. I got a picture right here. It looks like they just ran with the bulls. I got the red.
You go on to the first casualty, and then it stops.
Yeah, how many people do it each time? But then there's a couple casualties. There's a couple gorings. There's a couple.
Well, they shave off the horns. You just got to worry about getting stomped.
Well, the stomping. That's the fun part.
What are these 2,000-pound animals? Okay, Tiger. Okay, they shave off the horns. Well, okay, yeah. Well, by all means, I'll do it now. I know that's a little safer.
And a basic headbutt from a bull has got to not be good.
It's stomping. I think I'd be more worried about getting trampled by the bull.
I'd be more worried about getting trampled by people.
Well, that's right. The whole process. On the cobblestones, the bricks, man.
It's really just it's an overall. There's not really many pros to doing it, except for maybe the excitement.
I can say I ran with the bulls, but as the last bull goes out, I'm behind the last bull running behind them. As far as
thrill seeking goes, I mean, we had remember what was the story a couple weeks ago? The people who were running down the hill full speed with the block of cheese.
Oh yeah, block of cheese.
I would do the running to the bulls before I did that. Because that looks impossibly. Would you say that? What
you're going to fall there?
Running straight down the hills, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, you're going to fall.
I see enough people who run with the bulls who come out smiling and feeling good, and they did it,
and drunk and happy.
Of course. I'm thinking like, here's where I go. If I were to actually go run with the bulls, what shoes would I wear? You probably want to wear some of your best sneakers, right?
Skechers.
No,
you don't want to skate.
No, I'm not wearing. I'm not wearing Bucky and Joe Montana's shoes.
You're not wearing anything you're going to come out of.
You probably want some Velcro though.
They will knock you out of your shoes.
I probably don't want shoelaces.
I think there's like a certain type of shoe they wear that's part of the outfit though.
Oh really? Well, I'm not wearing some strange bowling shoes.
So that Under Armour makes the running of the bulls outfit for you?
Anybody who's ever run with the bulls, let us know what kind of shoes. What's your footwear game? What's that like? I'm thinking tight, wrap them up, maybe some high tops. I got to be able to move. I want them to be light though.
Cleats.
I'm not wearing cleats on the brick.
Oh, I guess it is stone.
No, I'm not doing shorts either. I'm doing khakis.
Pants.
Yeah, with knee pads.
Yeah, like lightweight khakis. Did you say knee pads?
Knee pads.
Yeah,
I got to have some pads. No, for sure I'm the last guy out. Last bull out, I'm right behind that last bull. And if any of them change directions, I got a problem.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, it's a busy news day. There's a lot going on. If you're just tuning in, we've got David Pearson, his Longhorn program, continuing their streak of a player drafted every year. In every draft, we'll tell you who and where. But the MLB Day 2 of the draft, pretty kind to the Longhorn baseball program yesterday. Actually, very kind to the Longhorn baseball program. Also, big day at Q2 Stadium. Not a good day at Northwestern. We'll dive into the Pat Fitzgerald story as he is out with the Northwestern Wildcats. Kind of a bizarre last 48 hours there in Evanston, Illinois.
About Huggy. Is Huggy in?
Huggy's trying.
Huggy's trying.
He's looking for a bag of money. He may show up at Big 12 Media Days just to. Hey, the AD's going to be there.
Hey, I'm following wherever
That's
that
the guy
guy
I need
goes.
to talk to.
That's right.
I know where to find him.
I'll drive up to Arlington.
All right, we'll be back. We're rolling on just 1 hour in the books, 3 to go here on B&E Show of the People here on the Horn. Who wants a Slurpee? That's right. Free Slurpees today for everyone. 7-Eleven. I don't know if there's a trick to that or just get in line. I don't know. I'm a fan of 7-Eleven, but today is July the 11th, so apparently free Slurpees.
Is it bring your own receptacle day?
See, I don't know. I don't know what the word. Sounds like a long line to me, so I'd probably avoid that. On a hot day like this, there'll be a bunch of knuckleheads getting for free. We're in radio, so anytime you give out like a free koozie or a free ball cap or something, people freak out.
I did a Slurpee yesterday, but it didn't have the icy parts of the Slurpee. It was just like the juice from the cherry. So I went and got regular ice, and I said, your Slurpee machine doesn't have, it's juicy. It's not Slurpee. It's just juicy. So I put some ice in it. Man, was that nasty.
Yeah, it sounds
sugary.
like a bad idea.
Wow, that was a bad idea.
Well, did you see that speaking of free stuff, politics. So there's a guy running for president, apparently, on the Republican side. He's the governor of North Dakota. Most people couldn't pick him out of a lineup. His name is Doug Burgum. He's a billionaire guy. Guy made $1 billion like in tech. But he's one of several Republicans in the they're trying to go to. They want to get on the stage for the debate. Right? You can't even be in the thing if you can't get on the debate.
If you're not in the top 4 or 5, you're not going to get on there.
But only one of the requirements is only candidates with at least 40,000 individual donors, which means if you're not getting enough support, we're not going to put you on the stage to debate.
Can he just make up donors and then put
how about
money
this?
to himself?
So I'm just saying this for you free stuff people who like free Slurpees and stuff like that. A long shot contender at the bottom of the recent polls, Mr. Burgum is offering $20 gift cards to the first 50,000 people who donate at least $1 to his campaign. So if you give this guy $1, he's going to give you $20.
Okay.
And then one lucky donor is going to pick up a Yeti Tundra 45 cooler.
Never turn your nose up at a profit.
So for $1, you're getting 20, and you could win a cooler. Just saying. Then you have to go to the guy's
So
Facebook
what the grandpa
page.
says, never turn up your nose on a profit.
Well,
right?
it's $19 in profit.
There
I'm
you
in.
go.
It's like a rebate.
Sure. Kickback.
What is this gift card to? Probably some company he owns.
Probably.
Probably Amazon Day like today is, or whatever the hell it is today.
Are you going to be online today on the Amazon Prime Day? Big day.
I've never bought anything online.
What?
No.
Ever?
Ever.
Are you kidding?
Now, my HGTV and my home gardening network from TV, I'll jump on there and do it that way. No, but I've never got on there and saw something and said, I've never done it that way.
So you've ordered like movies on the TV is what you're saying?
Yeah, the TV. Well, not just movies, but product.
I don't even consider that the internet.
But I've ordered product from the TV from
Dave, so you
Mr.
go on the website,
Propel or whatever. I mean, I've done that before. Yeah, I've ordered lights and things
like that.
Ever taken
Uber?
Gardening stuff. Have I ever taken Uber once?
Okay. I like Uber, but
one time.
I don't. Uber doesn't like me.
You're kicked off.
Yeah,
you're suspended.
Are you suspended from them?
I'm banned.
Would you crack wise with the driver or something? What'd you do?
I don't know. I woke up one morning and it was like you are.
Or she a he, and you said she when they were driving.
Maybe.
Is that what happened?
Up in a dang thing or
oh,
something?
Come on now.
Maybe you threw up in a dang thing.
No.
That would be my fear if I ever.
I would remember
Uber.
that. I would remember that.
If I ever had to drive Uber, that would be a fear of someone throwing up in my car or something. I think that stories of people getting it on in the back seat of Ubers. There's all kinds of stuff goes on in that deal. I don't know. But yeah, today is Amazon Prime Day. The next 2 days, and if you don't know what that is, then you're like the buck, and it's not a big deal. If you do, big savings with Jeff Bezos. And
so should I imagine? I can imagine the truck coming by my house at least 3 times today.
Oh, and then dropping
stuff in the box.
So your wife definitely orders stuff online.
Yes.
She's
I'm not going to say a lot. She's pretty good at it. I've seen it come to different places in my neighborhood a lot more than ours, but ours is on the way.
Does she order like necessities, or is it just things here and there?
They're a necessity.
Anytime a woman orders something, it's a necessity.
That's right.
It's always a necessity. It's not whether it's a book or, I don't know, some kind of new toenail clipper. I mean, those are all necessities. Those aren't. They don't order just to order. That's what you'll be told. Oh, this isn't just. What do you mean? This is really special.
Yeah, that's a mix of the genders, right?
And that's,
but it was on clearance. Okay, but we didn't need it. Quit maybe saving us so much money, hon. Come on now. I mean, what are we doing?
Well, that's sort of
it was on clearance.
That's me if I'm going to Costco.
Rack.
That's if I'm going to Costco or somewhere. My wife says, "Again, did you look up in the cabinet and see what's there right now?" So now
you're kind of a hoarder.
This makes the 5th one of those.
You're kind of a hoarder. You used to go to the garage sales. And...
Oh yeah. Well, I always get 2 of everything. I don't get like one of things. I get two of everything. I just
man.
do.
Even like tools and stuff like that.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I've got.
I know you have like 20 rigs.
I have just ordered these lights that are solar lights that go around, and help. You don't have to stick things in the ground. They're just little solar lights. Well, I don't order like the main order of them is 4. You'd think I'd get 8. No, I got 16. I mean, just because it's a special if you get the contractor's price of all of those.
Somebody said, "Who do I have to donate to, and how do I do it?" Repeat that. No, it's someone who wants to be on the Republican ticket, running for president.
$1.
His name is Doug Burgum, Burgum of North Dakota. He's the governor there, and you just got. I think you guys have to look it up. Go to his Facebook page, and you donate $1, and he'll give you $20 in a gift card.
Yeah, my
Doug
GoFundMe
Burgum.
is just down the road. Believe me, y'all.
Could
$1 is that? I'll ask for 50.
Come on. Hey, look, I'm a person. I might do that today. Give that guy $1. I don't even know who he is, but I think the more people up on the stage actually debating is better. The more voices heard.
Well, I don't
better.
know. Last time with the Democrat ticket where they had like 15 people up there at once.
That's true.
That was pretty bad.
That's true.
Let's get it down to like 5 or 6.
Combined support. He wants you to hear his message, though. Maybe I'll go read his platform and his message first, and then I'll decide if I want to give the guy $1. Okay, so that's happening right now on this National Amazon Day. By the way, for me, Amazon, I don't do it a lot, but at the same time,
You do it at Christmas time. You're a Christmas guy.
Well, you know me. I don't like to shop. I hate to shop.
And me, I like to get in the car and go.
I'm a purchaser. So like if I'm going to the store, I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to go get it, and I'm going to come out. I'm not going to wander around the store.
You're not going to look from store to store. You're
I'm
not going to
going
look
in and getting. So, I'm not a lingerer. I'm going. It's a specific mission.
I go down every aisle of HEB when I go.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
every
seriously,
single one.
really?
What?
Yes, even the
I can get it out
aisle.
of HEB most
I
times.
did that
in
when
like
I was
4
single
minutes.
and I had a cart full of stuff.
I
But
think
I knew what I was looking
I might
for.
have a little OCD or something.
Especially, I think that's OCD. I think now that our kids are gone, it's just I can get in out of HEB in like 8 minutes. I know or 4 minutes.
Me
I know where
too.
to park.
I know
I
exactly
get
what to
exactly
get.
what I want. I know where everything is. That's
I'm
why
like you. I park at the same spot.
there's an HEB in Buda, Texas, because we live in Onion Creek. So we're right between an HEB that's in Buda, right by the Cabela's there, and there's an HEB that's on Slaughter Lane in South Austin, which is a madhouse. I won't go to the one on Slaughter unless I'm told to. I won't go to it. But I ought to go. The one in Buda, I know where you can come in the back door parking. You park. I can get in. I do my own self checkout, man.
I'm there
to.
I'm there to purchase stuff. I'm not
That's
there
right.
to look around.
There's some good people watching.
Well, I don't like to people watch.
I'll do that
at
when I
other
go mall
places.
walking.
I'm purchasing. So
Put my
Amazon's
sweatsuit on.
kind of good for me because it is okay. That's what I want. Let's go. Let's get that deal. But yeah, like if I walk into a department store or something, what are those like TJ Maxx or something, and the line's long? I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm not standing in that. It won't happen.
I'm like that for food.
I don't need it that bad.
I'm
Now,
like that
if it looks
restaurant
like
stuff.
it's going to be an efficient mission, I'm in. But same time, not me, brother. Okay, so that's what's happening on this free Slurpee day. If you can get us some details on this, I'll try to find it for you for your free Slurpee of how you can pick that up. Let's get to the headlines, though. Let's get to the top stories because there are plenty of them. UBO Business Services, typically a slow day in sports, certainly for games and on-field activity. But, man, there's a lot of news, including coming out of Evanston, Illinois. That is where Northwestern has fired their head football coach, Pat Fitzgerald. Came down late yesterday. It's amid fallout from the university's investigation into hazing allegations within the football program there. University President Michael Schill made the announcement in a letter to the Northwestern community. We'll have more on that coming up in our Coach's Corner. Also, how about a busy day for the Texas baseball program, to say the least. Texas did, as a program, continue its incredible streak with a pair of likely now former Longhorns selected on day 2 of the MLB player draft. There's been at least one Longhorn drafted in every MLB draft since it began in 1965. So appropriately, the outfitter Dylan Campbell, he of the program and the Big 12 record 38-game hitting streak this past season, was the player to assure the program streak would be extended to 58 years. He was chosen by the LA Dodgers with pick 136 yesterday. Then at pick 179, the Chicago White Sox picked the Big 12 Pitcher of the Year, Lucas Gordon. Both are likely to sign Major League contracts and begin their pro careers. Only one member of the Longhorns' 2023 high school signing class was picked yesterday, and it came early with the first pick of day 2. Pick 71, Round Rock High right-hander Travis Sikora was selected by Washington. The 6'6 flamethrower set for a big payday with the Nationals. Just as notable, though, for David Pierce in the program was who wasn't picked on day 2. Starting pitchers Tanner Witt and LeBaron Johnson Jr. did not get drafted, greatly increasing the chances they will return to the program. In addition, no other Longhorn high school commitment was taken yesterday, and that includes their top remaining commitment, Will Gasparino, the 6'6", 215-pound outfitter from Harvard, California. He immediately indicated on social media that he's planning to come and play at the 40 acres. The third and final day of the draft is today with the rounds 11 through 20. Texas head coach David Pierce also announced several changes to its coaching staff yesterday, including the return of former Major League All-Star Troy Tulowitzki to the staff. He's going to return as the staff's the program's director of player development. Caleb Longley has been named the staff's third assistant behind bench coach Steve Rodriguez. Philip Miller is moving back into a coaching role, and maybe most importantly, Coach David Pierce announced that he will take over the team's pitching coach duties with assistance from developmental assistant Chris Gordon. Big day at Q2 Stadium yesterday. That's where Austin FC officially introduced Rodolfo Burrell as the club's new sporting director. 52-year-old comes to Austin after nearly a decade with the most dominant club in the world, Manchester City, in the English Premier League. He served as the club's global technical director, and then as its first assistant coach at the All-Star weekend in Seattle last night. It was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. winning the Home Run Derby, matching his father Vladimir Sr.'s title of 2007 and the first father-son duo to accomplish the feat. All right, so jam-packed. David Pierce taking over the pitching coach duties. Taking over. He's running it. And that's going to surprise a lot of people.
Well, and that's good, though. I mean, if you're changing out pitching coaches every other year or whatever, and you feel like, I mean, that's what you did. That was your specialty. Now you've hired the other guys that are around you that can take on some of those other duties, and you go coach the pitching. You know, because now it comes down to you on some of the decisions, and you want to have that kind of control, then so be it. And if that's your expertise, why not do it, E?
Well, and he's been a pitching coach. That's
right.
The number one thing, and
you know what you're looking for.
And I think as big to him wanting to do it, you know, he has the staff around him now where he feels like he can devote the time it's going to take to be the full-time pitching coach, along with assistants. But I don't see him on third base anymore, being the base guy. Come on now. I can't wait for our next conversation with Coach Pierce. But he has a way he wants his pitchers developed. Go back to his Rice days where he was the pitching coach for Wayne Graham. He's got expertise in the field, and
right.
Rice had some of the best pitching staffs in America back in those days, and they were power in college baseball. They haven't been since Coach Pierce and Wayne Graham left that program. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing, but I mean, there's a sense that when you come to take over a place like Texas, this is a big job. So maybe I need somebody else to handle the pitching. But I think over his 7 years here, I think he's built the staff around him where he can feel comfortable that, I can actually run this program and coach the pitchers. We'll see. It's a risk. There's no doubt about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of work to do as a head coach.
Yeah,
it is.
It says there should be no excuses. Now, that's true. I mean, this is a bold move for David Pierce. He's putting himself out there that if the pitching staff, think about this, when Sean Allen was the pitching coach 2 years ago, it was the number one staff in America. They got to Omaha, they didn't hit. They didn't pitch great, but they didn't hit when they got there, and the wind was blowing in, and they didn't score any runs. Went 2 and out. And then this year, Woody Williams came in and I thought did a nice job. They finished 10th overall in pitching ERA in the country.
Yeah, I mean, was this because they couldn't pitch? I think they
No, I think it's just there's a specific way he wants his pitchers developed, and
and a certain mindset of how he wants them to.
Maybe it's like, well, I can't find someone who does it like I do exactly, so I'm just going to do it. But there is a risk to that. There is no doubt.
Sure.
I mean, this is a big baseball program. There's big baseball fan expectations, and rightfully so. And he's putting himself in that spot, and we'll see. I know the new pitching coach at Texas got help yesterday because Tanner Witt and LeBaron Johnson Jr. weren't drafted, and there's a high likelihood those two now.
Yeah, that's right. The new pitching coach just got a bonus.
To have that guy Tanner Witt with a full another offseason of rehab and get himself back to where he was, and come in have a full offseason to come in, then a full training camp to get himself ready. You could project one of those guys as your Friday night starter, one of those guys your Saturday night starter. Now you're trying to find your Sunday starter and a closer, and then build your bullpen. It's a good place to start if you have 1 and 1A at the top of your rotation. Those two right-handers can be that if they do both come back.
Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of a head coach that calls plays, that has an offensive coordinator.
And he's got a specific way he wants to do it.
Right.
It's his offense at the end of the day.
Right. And I'm going to call the plays.
Yeah.
You just coordinate the guys.
Yeah. And it's not to say there was friction with he and Woody Williams. By all accounts, they got along fine. It's like Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino this year down at A&M. Tom Herman, when he was the coach at Texas, and his offensive coordinators. There's a natural. Steve Sarkisian makes no bones. I'm calling the plays. I'm the offensive coordinator. I'm the head coach of this deal, and I'm calling the plays. There are some who wonder if the job's so big, maybe he needs to hire someone to run plays and fourth quarters and that kind of stuff. But that's what leads us into our Coach's Corner here at 7:15 every single morning. Appreciate you. But it's Coach's Corner. So you got David Pierce putting himself out there. I didn't mention because the news desk was so deep today, but how about Rodney Terry? He ain't done. Rodney Terry added another piece to his roster, and this one's a developmental piece. So yesterday for Texas basketball, word that Devin Pryor, 6'7" small forward, former LSU commitment, is committed to Texas. He's going to reclassify to the 2023 class and join the Longhorns for the upcoming season. Somebody's have to explain the reclassify thing. This really is confusing to me. There's so much going on with extra years and COVIDs, and I don't know. But he's reclassifying his grade level. It's kind of what.
We've just come to the point of thinking you can get at least 8 years of college sports now.
Well, he's
at least a good.
So what
8.
year is he? Should he be in high school still?
He should be a senior in high school next year. When instead he's going to be at Texas.
Okay. He's doing the Quinn Ewers thing at Ohio State.
So he'll get 5 years here, or actually 6.
So he'll
probably redshirt this year, I'm assuming.
So he's a 6'7", 3-star player, but hadn't even played his senior year yet in high school. And so another player. This is one because look, I mean, I don't know the player very well. I've seen some film on him or some video. Same time, if you're Rodney Terry, don't you have to take the tack that we need to build our roster for now while we try to build it for some long term?
By the way, you have to have practice guys out there that you can't just run guys, into the ground. You have to have people that are there to help your team build too.
Well, right.
You said, yeah.
Because, you're bringing in Max Asmus from Oral Roberts. That guy's going to be immediate scorer, maybe
Absolutely.
your best player. But he's here 1 year, and he's gone.
Not everybody's immediate.
Tyrese Hunter's 1 year.
Bye.
See you later. That's it. Well, he's coming back for a junior year. Technically he could be back, but I think most people believe he's gone. Dylan DeSue's got 1 more year left. You know that. I mean, Dylan Mitchell's coming back, but that's probably it for him. So you kind of know a good core of your roster.
Yeah, you got about 5 guys who are going to be on, 5 or 6 guys.
And you know that. So you're also trying to build the underbelly of it, the depth, the behind it. So you bring in the kid who had been the Kansas commitment, the high school kid that played for TJ Ford, Chris. His name's on. I don't have the list in front of me. But now you bring in this kid. So you're Kendall Weaver from UT Arlington. It can be a player that's here for a bit. So that's a challenge. It's a challenge. But David Pierce will do it in baseball. Rodney Terry, you got to be building for the now and for the future, and thinking about both in real time. And you have to continue to re-recruit your current roster every day. I mean, you got to connect all the time, and it's a big job right now in the college athletics. We know that, not just at Texas, but around the country. And then there is the coaching conversation surrounding Pat Fitzgerald. This thing is, the word is ugly for sure, but there's 2 sides to it with Pat Fitzgerald, who says 99% of the players on his program have signed off that none of this is going on, and he didn't know anything about it if it was, and it's a small faction of his football team. But at the same time, it's a whistleblower that dates all the way back to November of last year that led to a university investigation.
But it's not just one. There's a lot of players that have talked about how they've gone through this now.
Correct. Fitzgerald was so if you go back to November, there was a whistleblower who complained of hazing in the program. The university immediately hired an outside firm to come in and investigate. That investigation led to the 2 weeks of suspension for Pat Fitzgerald. After the investigation. On Saturday, the president of the university said in a statement that he may have erred in weighing the appropriate sanction because once the 2-week suspension was announced, there was outcry and outrage on the campus that it wasn't enough, which has led to his dismissal as of yesterday.
Sounds like the school paper, the independent group that did it, the school paper did more than they did.
Oh, yeah. Those pesky kids continue to investigate. And yes, and that they uncovered going back to 2007 and 8 issues of racism in the program, and that's why there's 2 sides. Pat Fitzgerald has a lot of people high percentage of former players who are completely on his side and don't believe this to be true. Small number of players, very small, over the course of decades that are arguing that no, this was going on. So, Pat Fitzgerald's not to defend either side. Pat Fitzgerald put out a statement saying it's been an honor to coach at my alma mater and be the program's leader for 17 years. I stand by the record. And he has now hired outside counsel to fight for his rights, he says.
Absolutely.
In this case. So that will be an ongoing conversation. But it is interesting to me that it's likely that his defensive coordinator is going to be promoted to the coach. Well,
wasn't he around there?
Wasn't he around?
That's what I've been thinking. I'm like, all these guys, weren't they there too?
If the idea is, and I don't know that I disagree with it, that he may not have known, but it's his responsibility to know as the head coach of the program, well, then you kind of got to fire all of them. I hate to say that on July the 11th, but they kind of all got to go. And that's a huge step back for your program. I get that. But if you're firing one coach under the idea that you're the leaders of men and you're the leaders of young people, and just because we can't prove, because the president himself said we can't specifically prove that he knew that this was going on in his program. The evidence does not show that, but we're still moving on. Well, then you got to fire everybody.
Yeah, I mean, they got weird claps that they would do all kinds of weird stuff on the field when they were going to haze a certain group of freshmen that screwed up on the practice field and
running,
give these claps, and I don't know that.
What are you talking about? What kind of claps?
I mean, they did some weird kind of clap over his head, and then the players would start clapping. I mean, if a kid screwed up,
like a ritual of sorts.
Yeah, ritual. Yeah. What do they call these guys? The Shrekkers or something? The Shreks?
I haven't looked.
It's
too deep into the specifics of
It's pretty deep.
The complaint alleges that players pressured team members during hazing activities, which the complainant said often occurred in the locker room and may have started at Camp Kenosha, which is where the Wildcats used to hold part of their training
camp. Well, they won't
be
going to Camp Kenosha.
Yeah. Following that complaint came back in November 30th, but right after Thanksgiving of last year. Following that complaint from a single whistleblower, anonymous, the university hired the independent attorney, Agent Fox, independent law firm to investigate, which the anonymous complainant spoke with them. Northwestern publicly disclosed the investigation in real time, and then they released the executive summary of the investigation back in July. But then once that came out is when the school paper went to work and dig and found other people who would corroborate the story. Which led. But so the suspension of last Friday from the school president for Pat Fitzgerald came as, the fallout from the Northwestern outside independent investigation that they went through. What has led to his dismissal is that the school paper, upon that July 7th, or, the release of the executive summary, they went to work and did their own reporting with the whistleblower and then others who have corroborated. But again, the president said we can't specifically link and prove that Coach Fitzgerald knew that this was going on or supported it. Same time, it's his responsibility to know.
Right, this is on him.
Yes, it's his program. So, again, that's where that stands. It's one of those with more questions than answers, but in the end, he's out. And the big question is, well, if you're going to promote someone from within, I don't know that you can do that.
Because they all know.
They're all linked to it. If you're linking him based on you should have known it's your responsibility to know, then sorry, y'all. I mean, hate that, but that's college football today. That's college athletics today. That story is out, and it's a big one. We're only 50 days to the start of the college football season, and a great player there too. I mean, played for Gary Barnett and was a hell of a player for that program, and has just been a tremendous leader at the top of it, or seemingly tremendous leader for a long, long time. So that's a big college football.
Yeah, those
story.
deals aren't slap on the wrist kind of deals anymore.
No. We'll come back when we do more on these conversations. Obviously, we'll get to the hot or not topics before the end of the hour. Or later in the show, our friend Glenn Davis will join us to get us some thoughts on the new sporting director of Austin FC. Is it a home run hire, as many in the soccer landscape believe? We'll have that for you. It's a busy Tuesday here on B&E.
Folks, Dr. Greg Eggert and his all-star group of professionals do everything from general dentistry to the most advanced work, and that is restoring teeth. I had my teeth restored in just 2 visits with the great doctor. And he and his staff, believe me, if you've got dental anxiety, this is the place that you want to go. And a lot of folks aren't going to the dentist just because of that. or if you're worried about your insurance, Dr. Eckert will take most insurances, and it is about that time for you to start. Don't wait, once again, until we get into late October, November, and December to use your dental insurance, because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. But when it comes to general dentistry, extractions, teeth whitening, tooth loss, Dr. Eckert is there for you. And if you're thinking of dental implants, find out if you're a candidate with Dr. Eckert for dental implants by giving them a call today at 512-345-3166. Find out if you're a candidate, and he can turn that frown upside down in just one day. Whether it's one tooth or many teeth, Dr. Eckert can get that done. Now, he's done over 1,400 cases of restoring teeth. As I said, I love the veneers that I had. I like the color. I like the shape, the size. I got the smile that I wanted, and Dr. Eckert made sure that's exactly what I got. But as I said, please take care of that dental health. And Dr. Eckert, if he can't get something done, if he can't get a crown on, believe me, he'll get you to the right person. And if you're hurting, don't hurt any longer. Dr. Eckert will take you on. As a matter of fact, he's taking on new patients as we speak today. 512-345-3166. He's our dentist, and he should be your dentist also.
Busy Tuesday on B&E, and not saying that flippantly. It's normally a slow time on the night of the Home Run Derby. That's really all that's going on. But, man, there's a ton of news with Pat Fitzgerald out, David Pierce naming himself the Texas baseball pitching coach, Longhorns I think had a great day yesterday as far as day 2 of the Major League Baseball draft, or day 1 and 2. Lucas Gordon, Dylan Campbell drafted. And Travis Sikora out of Round Rock High, as expected, drafted first pick of the 3rd round. But other than that, no other Longhorns drafted. So it could be a boon for the current roster next year and beyond. So we'll follow that story. Also have the developments from Q2 Stadium. Also, did you see? I saw some video of a kid. They're doing the home run derby last night. And we'll get some of the highlights and takeaways from the home run derby itself. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. wins it. But man, the thing about the home run derby is there's a winner, and then there are the guys who put up moments. And Julio Rodriguez with a 41 homer.
Oh my goodness! To that crowd
was unbelievable. That was just a moment. Those are the kind of things you'll remember more than even who won the dang thing. And nothing against Vlad Jr., but that was awesome. Thought El Bombi, Dolis Garcia had some good moments last night. Randy Arozarena, geez Louise, what a super stud that guy is. Incredible. But so there was a kid in the outfield who got smoked. Like one of those line drives. They got little kids running around.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to catch the ball. This dude.
Whack.
He got smoked, man. I mean, it was because, they're trying to hit home runs. Every once in a while, they just hit like a sizzling line drive that, it didn't go well for him.
I mean, after Dr. Eckler reconstructs his face.
He kind of turned his head and God, that's not safe at all. But they're out there running around. Okay, so also
those are like the kids of the players and the nephews and stuff like that to get to go out there for that. Would you please sign that waiver, please? Yeah. Make sure you sign that waiver before this ball hits you upside your head.
Oh, man. All right, so a lot to do. We have more Big 12 football media days and our coverage of them, which are starting tomorrow. Longhorns are on the deck tomorrow, along with 6 other Big 12 schools. So we'll have full coverage of that coming up and a preview, plus the home run derby. Ty will have hot or not for the top of the hour. But right now, let's go to the Vaqueros hotline. Big news out at Q2 Stadium yesterday. The Austin FC, the club, announced and introduced. They didn't announce. They'd already announced it, but they introduced their new sporting director, which is a huge role within any soccer organization. Kind of the general manager, development guy. He has been officially introduced. Rodolfo Burrell. Robo, apparently, is his nickname. Robo, 52 years old, comes to Austin after nearly a decade with Manchester City in the English Premier League. Also was in Barcelona and Liverpool, and a decorated 25, 30-year career in the sport. Someone who will know what kind of hire this is for the direction of the organization is our friend Glenn Davis from Soccer Matters. He is on the Vaqueros hotline. What's up, Glenn?
Gentlemen, good morning. Erin, Bucky, how are you guys?
Doing fantastic, Glenn, and yourself? Busy time.
Yeah. Doing great. I was watching the home run derby last night as well.
Yeah, man. That's all that was on if you're looking for live sports last night. Wimbledon's on right now at the All England Club. Stay out of that quiet room. But, hey, Glenn, the hiring of Rodolfo Burrell, I mean, you know international soccer as well as anyone. What does this mean for you when you think about it, the direction of Austin FC now and into the future?
Yeah, big statement. Big statement. You mentioned some of the clubs he's been at. He's worked at every single level from coaching under 11s and under 12s, starting at Barcelona to the reserve team at Liverpool, on to Manchester City and a part of the treble around Pep Guardiola. So, I mean, if you want news, this is really, really big news. Obviously, he's saying the right things. He's really wanted an opportunity like this to come to MLS. Now, things are very, very different here from a budgetary standpoint, but I have a feeling you're bringing this guy in with his experience to not only help with your academy, work with your first team coach, acquire players. I mean, you just hired intelligentsia.
Yeah, intelligentsia. And Pep Guardiola, for folks who don't follow soccer, is what the Nick Saban of soccer, the Bill Belichick, whatever, but Greg Popovich. This is as good as it gets. So if you're and the thing you say about becoming a sporting director, he said yesterday that he's been on a track to be a head coach. But at 52 years old, maybe being the sporting director, because he does have such a vast experience in the game, is a better avenue for him than continuing to pursue the role of being the coach or the manager of the team. Let's get into the upper management and overseeing the whole organization.
Yeah, no question about it. And, there's people designed for certain jobs. And again, when you look at his resume, you see all the different things that he has done. This is next level for Austin FC. This is experience at certainly the youth coaching level, coaching a reserve team that Claudio Reyna never had. So, you're hoping he's going to help all aspects of your business as far as a competitive side, This is a guy that's going to help you find players. I think the biggest challenge for a lot of foreigners when they come over is, how do they adapt to the rules, the regulations of Major League Soccer, the budgetary restrictions, all these different, categories, targeted allocation money, general allocation money, designated player. That's a little bit different. He'll get schooled in that by everybody, but I think this is incredibly exciting. I think it's a statement. If you're an Austin FC fan, you got to be super, super pumped about this because, your organization's going big here.
Yeah, and they're going huge when it comes to youth soccer with this guy. I mean, this is a guy that can really, your clubs and your youth soccer all over the Central Texas area. I mean, not just the Central Texas area, but the MLS itself. You're getting a guy that really is going to bring up the game of soccer and bring it up the right way, and he knows how to do it.
Yeah, and I think you make a nice point here. Again, this is not only a big signing for Austin FC. It's a big signing anytime you're associated with La Masia and Barcelona and Liverpool and Manchester City for the entire league, as you said there, Bucky. So, look, ambition, statement, all of that comes with it. And now hopefully this helps you on the competitive side of the club here to continue to further things. But nobody seems to be sitting pat here when it comes to this type of a signing. It took a while to get the right person, and they got him. Will
there be a little bit of shock for him when it comes to money, straight out money and doing things the way the MLS has to do things and where they're restricted in some ways? I mean, it's not like what happened in Miami where you have a superstar, but there'll be some restrictions that he'll have to get used to, correct?
Yeah, that's kind of the stuff I was just talking about, the way the budgets are and the way the teams work with all these different models and categories when it comes to players and putting together a roster. But look, I mean, he's not going to be shocked by it. He already has learned about it. He's going to have people help him navigate that side of it if they haven't begun already, which I'm sure they have. They're not going to hire him and just throw him in the deep end. Because MLS is a different animal when it comes to putting a roster together, putting a team together, putting an organization together in a centralized league. It's a lot different. So I don't think there's any question they'll have schooled him. They will continue to school him and help him and assist him in those areas. But then you get his soccer brain, you get his experience, and his overall look at the blueprint of the club when it comes to player, everything on the competitive side.
Love that. Glenn Davis, of course, nationally recognized soccer and TV broadcaster, Houston Dynamo down there, but also Soccer Matters right here every Monday here on the Horn, and our great friend knows all things. Now, listen, we've had this debate, and I know your friend Eric Goodman comes on our show from the Austin Chronicle, and we talk about it with Lionel Messi coming to the MLS, this move for Austin. Will the MLS loosen some of these restrictions? Will they open things up to allow more freedom? I know they're trying to protect some of the clubs that don't have quite the budgets, but you know the world level, the MLS level very well. What are the next steps for the MLS to continue to grow and not have as many barriers to what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's incremental. I think that happens every time you sign a superstar. That's happened with David Beckham. You got all these other tertiary benefits that occurred after him. I think one you go right to with Beckham is all the infrastructure and stadiums that began to come after him. The other players that would come over from overseas, the want and desire to expand, the budgetary spend on players. And look, when you got 29 owners in the league, some of them want to be really conservative. Others are just saying, hey, let's blow this out of the water. Let's start spending and building our team. So, there's always the difference of opinion from 29 owners. But I don't think any question the idea is to continue to move it forward from the spend standpoint on players.
Glenn, with the national team now, in the MLS, how hard are they trying to keep American players in the MLS? And I know that you can't keep people from going to make money. If they want them all around the world, they're going to roll on out of here. They're going to be in Europe playing where the money is. And hell, some of them are going to be in Europe playing, and bypassing some of this when they're 15 and 16 years old. But how hard is the MLS really after keeping American players here instead of bringing foreign players to America?
It's always a balance. I don't know if you remember the time period when Jurgen Klinsmann was the head coach of the U.S. national team, and he was urging the American player to go over to Europe and test themselves.
Right.
That didn't mean the whole league was going to migrate like lemmings to try and play in Europe. It just meant a portion. And some of the players would go, well, look at our national team now, right? If that hadn't have occurred, we wouldn't be where we are with players playing on some of the biggest clubs in the entire world. And MLS was very resistant to that back then. I mean, they were, no, this is not right what Klinsman's saying. And of course, anybody who knows player development knows it was correct. It was the thing that was needed. So I think it's the balance. I look at rosters every weekend in the league, and sometimes you see a handful of Americans on a roster, 5 or 6 starting. Sometimes you see 1 or 2. So it's mixed around the league, especially with all the young talent coming in from South America, which seems to be one of the places now the league is really mining, places like Argentina and Colombia.
No question. Glenn Davis with us. Real quick, for Josh Wolf, now, Rodolfo Borrello did say yesterday one of the reasons he took his job was he's a fan of Josh Wolf and thinks he says the right stuff, because there's some folks who thought he's coming here to take Josh Wolf's job potentially. He says, no, I want to run the organization. Josh Wolf's doing a great job. What do you make of that relationship? And then the recent turn in form for Austin FC. 10 points in 4 matches. They're into 5th place in the West. Driussi's playing great, and they feel like they're heading in a good direction here middle of the summer.
Well, first of all, you have to say you want to work with the head coach that's currently here. So I don't know how much history they actually have. They may have a lot of history. That I don't know. But, you know, you do have to work with the coach, and it is a bright, young, ambitious coach in Josh. So I would think he's very excited about that. And these guys are close in age. Austin FC, the last game, very deceptive game. First 30 minutes could have been down 3 or 4 nothing. I looked at the score, and I'm like, wow, Austin put it to Minnesota United. But if you watch the first 30 minutes of the game, it was chaos, and it was not good. But then they got the game under control. They started scoring some of those patented goals. I think Fagundes coming back affects Driussi. I think you're beginning to see this team begin to play the way that they can, piece together some of these beautifully aesthetic goals that we're seeing. And now they got a Vancouver team that's going to try and push them back in their penalty area and look for second balls and are challenging in that way. So, you know, the center back position and some of the areas of the team defensively still is being worked on. So that will be a challenge with Vancouver.
You know, I think they feel better when they're healthy, and they look to be decently healthy right now, Glenn. And that part is now showing, and I mean, in the heat of this summer right now.
Health is coming back. Performance is coming back. You know, we're starting to see the Fagundes of old, I think. I mean, Danny Pereira's been a gem since he's been on the field here, just growing and blossoming like usual. Was fantastic in the last game. Joining in the attack now to add to all the other things he does as a 6, including building the game and doing all the defensive work. So I think it's exciting times. And as we all know in this league, things change really fast, you know, and like we've said on the show many, many times in discussions with you guys that, you know, in MLS, you know, you have time to correct your problems, right? You have a lot of time because it's not a league where if you lose your first 5 or 6 games, you know, you're pretty much out of the running for the title because of consequence. You have time to correct things, and we're seeing a lot of teams do that. And now in the summer transfer window, a signing of a player or 2 here, and all of a sudden you're a different team. Sporting Kansas City didn't win a game in their first 10. If they were in the Premier League, they're done, right? But they're not in the Premier League. So all of a sudden they got Alan Polito, their designated player, healthy. He's scoring goals. Health turns things around, and now they're one of the hottest teams in the league, and they're pushing to get into the playoffs.
You know, you've always liked Danny Pereira. I have too, coming out of college. I mean, he's one of those kids that, I mean, just you thought that he was thrown into the fire pretty early with Austin, but you know he's battled through the injuries, and he looks like a veteran guy who's been out there for 5 or 6 years, and it hadn't been that long. You know, it doesn't seem like that, but when he's healthy, he looks like a veteran now.
Yeah, he just accelerated his development. I mean, listen, this was a great pickup by Austin FC out of the college game, right? This is cheap labor for your team when you have a Danny Pereira, and he's going to get paid one day, but it's not right now. And that's another area where, you know, the new incoming sporting director, you know, is going to have to address the college game. And what do we do with the college game? How focused are we on it? Because you certainly got a gem with Pereira.
Glenn, always appreciate it on quick notice to get the update on Rodolfo Barella for our audience and what the Austin FC are doing. They're swinging for it big time like the Home Run Derby guys were, going big, making a statement that they want to be a big picture player within the MLS now and beyond. Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks, Glenn.
Gentlemen, thank you as always. Bucky, Erin, you guys are the best. Thanks.
Yeah, that's right, Dan. Well, he's the best. Anytime you need something from Glenn, that guy is high level when it comes to soccer, on the pitch and behind the scenes, and knows his stuff, to say the least. Glenn Davis, one of the best. We'll come back with Hot or Not, like father, like son at the Baseball Home Run Derby. Also some off-the-nose stories as well on this National Slurpee Day at 7-Eleven here on B&E. Hot and not. I got to say props to Major League Baseball because I was a big fan of the Major League Baseball draft on Sunday night. I thought they did a great job putting it into prime time, putting it on the field, making it a big spectacle with Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz and Wyatt Langford and all the named players. And, really since 2015 when they changed the format, Buck, the Home Run Derby's become must-watch television. There's not a lot on to compete with it. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, that's fun to watch superstars, actual superstar players out there hacking at it. And,
well, it looked like
putting on the
kids,
show.
like when they started the game, having fun.
Yeah, having a great time, and obviously got really serious down the stretch with Vlad Jr. and Randy Arozarena.
Here's another stud.
I mean, I know he plays in Tampa. That guy would be a superstar on a different team. He is a superstar. He just plays in Tampa on the best team in the American League right now. What a stud. What a quick bat, quick twitch athlete. Clutch is his main gene, I think. How about Adley Rutschman, too, the Baltimore Orioles young catcher who was a high draft pick, number one pick a couple of years ago. How about him going switcheroo? I mean, he hit 20 home runs from one side, flipped around, hit 7 more from the other. That was a badass move. It was like, I got that in me. That's pretty cool. He didn't win the dang thing, but again, the home run derbies, it's like when the dunk contest used to be the dunk contest. You know what I mean? You have the best players out there dunking, and you don't even remember who won a lot of times. You remember, that was a good dunk. Well, you know what? That's what they're doing with baseball. Good for them. Watching these guys act like kids and hit tanks to the upper deck. Watch little kids get hit in the head out there in the outfield. Oh man, it's good. That was good last night. But Vlad Jr., Vlad the Impaler, and gets it. His dad won it in 07. He wins it last night, just narrowly edging out Randy Arozarena. Julio Rodriguez, J-Rod as they call him from the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, yeah.
Rising star. He had a 41 home run moment there in one of the rounds, which was really cool. So, yeah, good moments last night at the Home Run Derby. We'll see what we get from the All-Star game tonight with Zach Gallen pitching for the National League versus Garrett Cole, the clean-shaven Garrett Cole, getting the call from Dusty Baker, the manager of the American League team. I thought it was interesting that Framber Valdez, Dusty Baker is the manager of the All-Star team. He's the manager of the Astros. Framber Valdez said, if I don't start, I'm not going to pitch. Because I'd work my tail off to lead the NL and AL and ERA, but I'm not going to pitch if I'm not going to start. Well, Dusty Baker said, well, guess what? You're not starting.
Okay.
You're not starting.
So be it.
T.Y., what do you have for us in Hot or Not?
Not much today. Jamie Foxx, who had that medical emergency a few months ago, we didn't know if he was going to make it through, was spotted at Topgolf, getting a few swings in. So it looks like he's back at it. Probably going to be making some movies soon. Jamie Foxx.
Glad he's doing
Covered.
good. Did we
Good.
reveal he had a stroke? Is that right?
Yeah. But he's been at a rehab facility for I think a few months, but it looks, from the photos,
Love me some Jamie
some
Foxx.
videos of him taking some good swings. So
He's back.
I am a Jamie Foxx fan.
very talented man.
Very talented. From Dallas, right? Didn't he play high school football in the
he's up that-
Metroplex?
yep.
It's like the east style outside of Dallas.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right. So we'll take your highlights from last night's home run smasheroo. Also, Longhorn baseball had a good day yesterday as far as the MLB draft go. They kept their pretty incredible streak alive as a program. 2 of the Longhorns were drafted, but it was more surprising who didn't get drafted last night for Texas. Also more on the Pat Fitzgerald story and plenty more on a busy Tuesday. 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260, streaming always on your Horn app, on your smart speaker, and at hornfm.com. Bud Light, folks. Bud Light, tremendous, and what an opportunity for you to enjoy these blazing hot days. You know, Buck said the apex of this heat is coming soon here in July, and this might be the week that gets us. But those ice-cold Bud Lights are always there for you to cool you down, make sure you're mixing in water and staying hydrated. But, if you're outside these days, you need to be at a pool, floating on a river, in the AC. But do it with an ice-cold Bud Light. It's still America's number one light beer, and, of course, brewed right here deep in the heart of Texas by Texans for Texans. And doing it right. They're also the official domestic beer partner of your Texas Longhorns, of the Texas OU game, which means we're counting down the days. It'll be Friday, it'll be 50 days to the start of the college football season, and we start counting down from there. The ice cold Bud Lights this summer and into football season, can't beat it. As we say, only 4 great ingredients, which just creates that great flavor every single time. Brewed by Texans for Texans here in the Lone Star State, and dang proud of it. Put them together. You know, it's not yet Buck Off Thursday. That's coming up on Thursday. That's why it's called Buck Off Thursday. It's also Buck Ons, and that's all brought to you by the Austin Gamblers. We're getting closer and closer to rodeo days.
Absolutely.
Also closer and closer gambler days, I should say, with the bull riding out there at
Moody
Center. But we're getting closer and closer to the Frontier Days, which is when the PBR season begins at the end of this month. PBR at the big one in Cheyenne,
they'll have the big
Wyoming.
one when they get to Vegas for the professional.
That's
bull
where they
riding.
have their championship.
I wonder if
the
they'll
end
do it in the big sphere there.
Oh,
You like
the
that thing,
eyeball.
don't you?
I just like the thought of having something like that in the big eyeball.
That's the big eyeball, man. That thing is awesome. Yeah, well, that's where they have the PBR has their championships there in Vegas. That's where Austin FC made it there. I mean, that's where their playoffs are at the end of their regular season. But it all starts at Frontier Days. One of these years, I'm going to go up to that. I'm going to get with JJ Gotch and say, you know what, take me up there with you, because this time of year to get up to Wyoming to get out of the heat would be incredible in July.
My family was just up there all last week.
What'd they say?
It was amazing.
Amazing. Now Cheyenne is in more central southern Wyoming. It's not up there in the Tetons and
They were
up
at
in the
Jackson Hole.
Yeah, Jackson Hole's in the northwest corner.
Yeah, my son likes going to Jackson Hole.
But so Cheyenne's down central south, but so it's not as mountainous, but it's still cooler and gorgeous and amazing. But because there are different parts of Wyoming. There's the Tetons, which are legendary. Where I worked when I was in college was there outside Buffalo, which is up in the northeast corner, south of Montana, just west of South Dakota. But the Bighorn Mountains kind of dip down into there, and that's where our place where I worked was. It's just so beautiful. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get up there because you got I think they have all of course every weekend for the PBR they have all the teams up there, and that'd be some fun stuff to get to Cheyenne, have a good old time, go cowboy for a couple days.
Tell you something, the more I see, because it's like Shark Month. It's not like Shark Week on Discovery. They got it like the whole month. The more that when I go see my grandkids in Jacksonville, I'm only going out to my ankles. Okay, out into the water, off the beach.
Is Jacksonville on the beach?
Yeah, there's water
Not
all
far.
over Jacksonville. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty much.
Remember the rivers?
It's not like
Yeah.
Rivers
on the ocean, though,
No,
right? On the
no, but
coast.
there's the channels and the rivers there. Remember when Tom Brady almost threw the Super Bowl? I was in Tampa,
off the dock there. Yeah,
Tampa, Jacksonville. Yeah, there's a lot of water, but not
lots
you're not
of
on
lots
the,
of
you're
water
not on
in
the
Tampa.
coast though.
Yeah, lots of water in Tampa.
But Jacksonville a little more inland. But yeah, I was thinking Tom Brady. Remember he almost threw the Super Bowl trophy in the water.
You had to get carried out.
Yeah,
he was
wasted.
he was hammered.
Dude, them sharks make some mistakes. I don't want to be a mistakey.
By the way, Tom, Bucky,
Fresh
you
little
on.
piece of brown meat.
I'm not doing sharks, dude.
Well,
No thanks.
you
But
know-
if you go out with me to Cheyenne for Frontier Days next year, then you could get a grizzly bear or something. A big old grizzly. Would you rather deal a grizzly bear or shark?
Ooh.
Shark.
Yeah, me too. Because I think you can just kick
Poke
him in
its
the
eyes.
Oh, really?
poke its eyes, kick him in the nose. You got a better chance. I'm not saying either is good or optimal, but I'm
No,
saying
I saw that movie, Revenant. I'm not. No, I don't want to deal with that bear.
grizzly bear. No, especially in his house. If you're out where he lives, like if he shows up at your house, you can close the door,
Just lock the door.
hide in the
Oh.
attic or something.
Oh
But
my God! Yes, get underneath the sink somewhere.
I'm going shark.
Yeah.
I'm going shark.
I don't like all that water either.
Because I know a lot of people are killed by sharks, but at the same time, I see a lot of people just lose a leg. Like they just lose a leg,
Like oh, you mean
lose
just?
a foot.
Oh, that's all they take off is just.
Grizzly
Hey,
bear, that ain't coming out that way.
no, he's taking it off.
No, you're done.
Taking off the whole
There's a
leg.
mauling about to
Oh
happen.
man. Oh
I'm out.
nah.
I'm out on both.
No, I saw
But I'm-
Leonardo DiCaprio just get sexually abused by that bear. That's just always stuck in my mind.
Jeez.
Jeez Louise, that's the vision. But yes, I've seen that movie one time. I won't see it again. The Revenant. I don't need to see it again. I wanted to see
That's
it.
another one. That's like, yeah.
I
Once
need
it's
3.5
done.
hours.
I needed it. I wanted to, and in the end, that's it. Okay, I've got it. It's etched in my skull. But
Yeah, but these sharks are making mistakes.
too early buck-ons though, because remember you can give us your buck-ons and buck-offs anytime, and we have great prizes, and we're with our friends at the Austin Gamblers. Tickets to Gambler Days in late August. But T.Y., I'm giving you a buck-off because you got out of your Deep Eddy habit and you ended up at the Saxon Pub last night on a mandate. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mandate.
Just
a couple
dudes being dudes.
I was going to take a girl. Nick Shuley hooked me up with some tickets, but
Thank you, Nick.
she bailed and, My
You brought
boys,
in
my
the dudes.
boys
The
are always there
backups
for
were
me.
there. The backups were
It's
there.
actually it's the same guy that I've taken to a concert the past 2 weeks, and
That's not your sleeping buddy, is it?
It's-
Is that your
Snuggle
buddy?
buddy?
Is there Snuggle Buddy?
That's old Spooner.
Teddy Roxman? Is that old
It
Teddy
is.
Roxman himself?
Yeah, that story is not aging well with all these mandates that are going on. But it's the same guy.
Your,
Oh,
your Spooner
man.
was a mandate with your Spooner. I love that.
Oh, great.
All right. Well,
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah,
So maybe I'm not gonna buck you
I'm
on.
I'm not drinking tonight." And then,
maybe I'm not bucking you on.
Well, that's good.
But I'm
You
bucking
two
the-
don't need to be drunk.
well,
And when you're out on a
we ended
mandate.
up sharing some beers together.
I'm bucking this lady on, though. How about this lady? This is some serious business. A mom in Tennessee celebrating the birth of her 13-pound baby.
Wow. It's a big one.
Doctors say it's officially the size of a 3-month-old. Dang.
Whoa.
Yeah, average baby born is 7.5 pounds, 7.4. This lady gave birth to a 3-month-old.
Jeez, that's like sticking a quarter in a dime slot. I mean, really?
It's like a lot of things.
Wow. I don't want that upon me.
I mean, that's a size disadvantage from the beginning, but now you're going 13-pounder.
Gonna end up like Joe Potak. That's what's gonna happen.
The mom's gonna end up like, I don't know, man.
Oh man.
I am out.
Ladies, you do a fantastic job. I don't know how that's done.
I mean,
it's a
all
part
right,
of life. But
Here we
my
go.
goodness.
Grizzly bear in his house, shark in his house are birthing a 13-pound baby.
I'll take on either one of the grizzly or the shark than to do that.
Moms are amazing. Mom, buck onto y'all.
Just amazing is right.
Moms are amazing. Okay, get them a Slurpee on National 7-Eleven Day. It's also Mom's kind of Mom's Day. I think do moms probably use Amazon Prime, Amazon more than dudes.
yeah.
I'm gonna say, oh yeah.
Well, today's Prime Day.
I've probably ordered under 10 items in my life on Amazon.
Well, it's Prime
Mostly
Day today.
books.
What was the? I was gonna say it's mostly books.
Like
yeah.
for school that I
My wife loves
didn't end up
books, so
ever
she
reading.
reads a lot. So it's mostly books that come
I
in.
graduated college probably reading less than 50 pages in every book I ever bought.
When you start and then
So
that's
proud
it,
of that.
done.
Well, actually, the AP style book for journalism school or whatever I did, stupid.
Never read my
Um,
body myself.
By the way,
No.
if you go,
Did not.
that's
You
why
should.
I love Ty. Ty is completely unfiltered. He'll admit anything, no matter how embarrassing. Spooning with dudes, mandates, and
Dudes.
doesn't read.
Oh man.
So if you go to Amazon.com, Buck, I'm going to give you a little tip.
Look at that.
Because today is Prime Day.
Okay.
It's just like an online grocery shopping surplus. But if you go to the left far tab, that's the All tab, let me give you all out there a little tip. And go all the way down to where you see All. See that See All tab, Buck?
Yes.
And you keep going down.
I find some odds and
And you
ends.
go to a thing called Amazon Outlet. That's where the real deals are. That's where the real deals are.
So is that supposed to be like the outlet mall in
Yes.
Hillsborough?
It's overstock. It's
Real-
overstock.
overstock?
Amazon.
Really?
Yeah. It's on the left side, all, then down to all again, and then you go to Amazon Outlet, and you're cooking with gas at that point, my friend.
Do outlet malls still exist?
Barely.
I know the one in Hillsborough is not doing.
I go down to one right down the road
San
here
Marcos?
all the time. Yeah,
They do.
Perry Ellis. I'm a Perry Ellis guy. So,
Well,
by the way, I had my wife give me some MeUndies, and I didn't
Get
just.
those on Amazon Prime Day?
I guess. Well, I don't know if it
How
was
are
Prime
the
Day.
MeUndies? I've been hearing
MeUndies
about
are
those for
great.
years.
MeUndies, and they last a long time. They can take a beating. You know what I'm saying? And you and your mandates. I mean, I'm serious. MeUndies. But I didn't. My wife said, "So, how many do you need?" I think I got like 8 pair. 8.
You take
How many-
more underwear on
I'm an underwear
How many
guy.
pairs of underwear do you have?
You got a lot.
I got a lot. I got a lot of underwear. I got the ones with the holes in the butt cheeks. They got to stay.
I have maybe 10 pairs of underwear total.
Total?
Jeez Louise.
That's a trip for me. I got
Why
to.
throw them away?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. You need more. Why don't I
Just
mean?
wash them, my friends. Okay, so
Or turn them inside out.
there you go. So Prime Days are today and tomorrow. Get on there. Yeah, go down to that Amazon outlet. You can really find some good deals, even if it's not Prime Day. It says my wife had an 11.5-pound baby. It says the
13.
it says the one in San Marcos is thriving. The one in Hillsborough has been closed for a couple years. That's true as far as the outlet malls go. Every time I go down to the outlet mall, it's packed.
What, San Marcos? Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people that come up from Mexico to go to the outlet mall there. I mean, a lot of people. There are a lot of foreigners there when you're at the outlet mall.
Really?
Yeah, when you're walking around. I mean, it's too hot to go to the outlet mall now, an outdoor mall when it's 115. No, thank you. Nothing is that important. But you know what they're starting to do, though, which is kind of cool? You know, these old department stores, the Toys R Us's and the things. You know what they're starting to do? What's the fastest growing sport in the world, but the United States for sure?
Pickleball.
Pickleball.
Ugh.
So they're taking these big department stores that are going out of
Indoor.
dinosaurs, and they're playing indoor pickleball.
I know.
So you can play in the air conditioning. So it's like a racket club. Remember when you used to go indoors to play racquetball?
I think that's a good deal.
Well, it's a good use of space.
Yeah, well, use the space. It's a community thing. You can have your little community tournaments so you get to know your.
Well, you're not dying of heat exhaustion or heat, whatever.
But there's got to be
your pickleball,
and there's got to be pickleball guy out there who's diving on the court. I mean, have you seen pickleball guy? He's got to be out there because there's one in every sport.
Yeah. No, you don't. Well, not old dudes should be diving. You got hips and things.
Yeah,
be doing that.
But a pickleball guy is diving. He's out there making plays.
We should make a beer die league. You ever play beer die?
No.
Back in the day?
This says he just contradicted himself. He only shops for what he needs, but at Amazon he goes shopping for deals. No. I go shopping for deals for what I need. So if I need something, I'm going to try to find the lowest price possible on that item. And sometimes in the Amazon outlets, you can find that. I don't just go in there looking for general whatever.
No, but if he goes to the mall, he knows already what size, what he's getting ready to pick up. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not stopping off there or there or there.
And again, unless I need it that immediate time, if the line's long, I'm out. I'll come back later.
And I'll come
back another day.
Terrible with the kids going to like malls and stuff because I knew exactly what I was looking for or what they were looking for, and I'd say, "Okay, got it. Time to go."
I can't go to any department store alone where I'm going to spend way too much money on stuff I don't need.
It's called self-control, Ty.
I
very
struggle
with
that.
I struggle with that. Let's get to the headlines. Trending topics to start we're already halfway through this segment, but that's all right. Let's get you the news. It's a busy one. Top Gun equipment rentals. Yeah, pretty shocking development or surprising development out of college football last night where Northwestern University announced that they have fired their head coach, Pat Fitzgerald, after 17 years on the job amid fallout from the university's investigation into hazing allegations within that football program. The university president, Michael Schill, suspended Pat Fitzgerald for 2 weeks back on Friday, but turned around here on a Monday and dismissed the head football coach. He announced it in a letter to the Northwestern community. We'll get you more details on that coming up. Also, big day in baseball. How about the home run derby last night? Vlad Guerrero Jr. wins it. He and his father, Vlad Sr., become the first two, the father-son duo ever to both win a home run derby. Beat out Randy Arozarena, the Rays, in the final round. Also, for the Texas baseball program, pretty good day in the Major League Baseball draft. First off, Texas as a program continued its incredible streak. They've now had a player drafted in every draft since 1965. Streak is now at 58 years and counting. And appropriately, outfielder Dylan Campbell, who had that 38-game hitting streak, which is a program and Big 12 record this past season, was the player that assured that. He was picked with pick number 136. LA Dodgers grabbed Dylan Campbell in the fourth round. Pick 179, the Chicago White Sox selected the Big 12 pitcher of the year, Lucas Gordon, both likely to sign major league contracts and begin their pro careers. Only one member of the Longhorns' 23 high school recruiting signing class was picked yesterday, and it came early. First pick of day 2, top of round 3, Round Rock High right-hander Travis Sikora was selected by Washington. 6'6" flamethrower set for a big payday with the Nationals now. But maybe just as notable for David Pierce is who wasn't picked on day 2. Starting pitchers Tanner Witt and LeBaron Johnson Jr. did not get drafted, greatly increasing the chances they return to the program next year. In addition, no other Longhorn commitment was taken yesterday, including their top remaining commit. That's Will Gasparino, the 6'6", 215-pound outfielder from Harvard, California. He is the son of the director of amateur scouting for the LA Dodgers. He was not taken in the first 10 rounds, and he immediately indicated on social media that he's planning on coming to the 40 acres. Third and final day of the draft is today, rounds 11 through 20. Texas head coach David Pierce also announced yesterday several changes to his coaching staff, including he's going to be taking over the pitching coach duties himself. It was reported several weeks ago that Woody Williams would not be returning as pitching coach. David Pierce will be the pitching coach at Texas. Also, former Major League All-Star Troy Tulowitzki is coming back to the staff. He's going to be the program's director of player development. Caleb Longley has been named the staff's third assistant behind Steve Rodriguez and Coach Pierce. Philip Miller is moving back into a coaching role as well. Big day at Q2 Stadium. Austin FC officially introduced Rodolfo Burrell as the club's new sporting director. 52-year-old comes to Austin with some lofty credentials. He spent the last decade with the most dominant club in soccer in the world, Manchester City in the English Premier League. He served as the first assistant coach there. He's now the sporting director.
No, Pat Fitzgerald, the head coach, it was the head coach at Northwestern for 17 years. Is there that you can't, you have to totally deny, I have no idea this was going on here? you can't say, well, I had an inkling that we've had hazing before. You can't even say those words, right? Or you're guilty. Is that how that falls? Because, Coach, come on now. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night.
Yeah,
he can't even hint to he thought there was something. He has to totally deny that. Correct? That I did not know that there was hazing going on within my program. I've been here for 17 years. I just know you have to say those words.
Was the hazing bad enough to get him fired though? Like what happened? What happened to this one?
In this day and age,
unnamed individual?
Well, let me just read from the school president's statement to the
listen to how that
community.
goes. What was going on?
Well, after suspending him for 2 weeks and then yesterday or over the weekend doubling back that maybe that wasn't enough. He wrote, Schill said that the hazing included forced participation, nudity, and sexualized acts of degrading nature in a clear violation of Northwestern's policies and values. I'm grateful that, to my knowledge, no student suffered physical injury as a result of these behaviors. While some student athletes believe the hazing was in jest and not harmful, others viewed it as causing significant harm with long-term consequences. Additionally, Schill wrote that hazing was well known within the program, though the investigator failed to find any credible evidence that Coach Fitzgerald himself knew about it. So again, no credible evidence that the coach knew that this was happening. The coach, though, he said and wrote, is ultimately responsible for the culture of his team. The hazing we investigated was widespread and clearly not a secret within the program, providing Coach Fitzgerald with the opportunity to learn what was happening.
Need to get Anthony Davis to come talk to the guys. He knows about that.
There's a little bit of that going. Sounds like there was some of all that stuff.
Somebody didn't like it.
Well, look,
that happened. That's just locker room stuff.
I would say that what was going on was okay 10 years ago. Okay is the wrong word. Some would argue it's never been okay.
It's right. What is going on? Like, how far is this going to go?
No,
is everybody going to what are we going to be able to do eventually? Is there going to be?
You're not going to be able to haze
the morality police, or just? Is that?
Well, look. Some of these things are graphic and dry humping players and get naked players, and that shouldn't be going on. Now, do I know that
running around with mask on?
Yeah, wearing masks.
Come on, man.
What
is this?
The president himself said the players thought, oh, that's just we were being funny. It was fun.
Boys being boys.
Boys being boys. Just goofing around. Dudes being dudes.
Dudes being dudes.
All those smart guys up at Northwestern.
So, and look,
but you don't have to do that in order to have camaraderie. That's
correct.
You don't have. That's not necessary to have a good football team.
That seems like in any sport or where you put a bunch of guys in a locker room together, like stuff like that's going to happen.
Well, no. Well, that's the whole point of the president, that it's the leader's job to make sure that doesn't happen.
Right.
It's not okay.
It doesn't have to happen.
But
it doesn't have to happen.
Does that kind of stuff happened when you played, right?
Oh, dude, I told you I got the thing. That wasn't hazing. No, that wasn't hazing. That was just an individual who was older thought putting an icy hot thing up my in the shower was cool.
Well, you didn't think it was cool.
Oh no,
I'm sure everyone else thought it was funny though.
Oh no, well they thought it was funny, but not any
but
of that.
But you didn't
do
anything to any younger kids when you were an older player?
No.
You were always a nice guy?
Well, I just didn't think that was right. It didn't make him a better. It didn't make him part. It didn't make him part of the group in order to haze them.
Maybe you don't have to haze players, but there definitely is like a hierarchy to a team to where you have to gain respect in some way as a younger player on a team.
I'll just say, in high school, I participated because I was in high school. I was a teen, and I had to do that banana walk through.
This happens in the NFL. You see rookies got to carry the veterans' bags, got to pay for dinner.
Yeah, but nobody's dry humping rookies.
Well, who knows?
Well, come on, Ty. You don't. This stuff was sexual and graphic in nature. But again, as the president even said, a lot of it began with their training camp when they would go off to Kenosha, Camp Kenosha, and that when they're all out together and. All coaches want their locker room to police the locker room. They want the leaders of the team to police the underclassmen to make sure they're doing things the right way. But there's a right way and a wrong way, and the line between what is over the line hazing and what's just as Ty said it and called it earning the respect of your senior teammates and earning your spot. There's lines of that.
The weird stuff doesn't need to be happening.
Correct.
Sure.
Correct.
But I don't think.
But okay, then you got what defines weird. That's again. What would this have?
A rookie taking my bag off of a bus for me is different than me standing
carrying all the
than
shoulder
me standing than a rookie
Yes.
laying down naked and me sitting
Yes.
on his sitting over him.
But
I
at
mean,
a
it's-
certain point, they're just going to be like, well, you can't do anything.
well, and that may be what it needs to be.
No, who knows? World changes
Well,
again.
It's
But
not going
again-
to screw up your team. It's not
Well,
going to make
no,
your team
no.
worse.
To me, the president has put himself into a corner here because if he says Pat Fitzgerald, there's no credible evidence that he knew. The president wrote that in his dismissal.
Right.
We found no credible evidence that he knew. Now, people have said that, Harge and Rod yesterday were talking about it, and there's no way he didn't know. Well, they found no evidence, no credible evidence that links him to knowing
That's right.
specifically, but it's his responsibility to know.
But being around that
Well,
kind of
guess
stuff.
what then, Mr. President? You can't promote another coach on that staff to head coach.
Well, yeah, I would believe that's
You have
true.
to clean house completely. I mean, everybody's got.
How do you do that at this point? In the
I know.
offseason?
That's what I'm saying.
You
That's
gotta-
why I said he's
Well,
boxed
You
himself
got to get
in.
like a former player at that point.
But he's got to hire a whole new coaching staff.
You're
I
just
mean,
gonna have to
this is the
Because
slope
if the
you're
head,
on.
believe me, because if the head coach doesn't know, believe me,
Yeah, the
the
further
assistants
down
know.
you go, the closer you're probably getting to someone who
Sure.
does know.
I bet there's some guys up at Mike McCarthy's barn that been working, waiting for their shot.
I don't. It's one of those situations, and we still don't know all. Now, Pat Fitzgerald put out a statement which was very classy, in which he talked about his pride of leading that program, his alma mater, program he played for, the players and the character he developed. He's very proud of his record of guys who become better, going from boys to men and gone on to great careers. But he also said he has hired legal representation, and he will fight for his rights within this case as well. So it's not the end of it. But
those guys are making over $1 million, millions of dollars. The guy wants to get his money.
Well, and I think Ty's point is whether there's a hazing culture in every locker room to some level. If you depending on how broad you will use and define the word haze, it goes on. It's just.
It's not even just in sports. It's
No,
in
for sure
any,
not.
like even like office environments.
Well, we're not.
Maybe not here, but-
We're not at the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company.
That's what I was going to say. Not here at Dunder Mifflin.
Right, but not to be flippant about it, but obviously it affected other. The president even wrote. I mean, some weren't bothered by it, some were traumatized by it. So at the same time, Pat Fitzgerald has to know. But I think the point Ty would make and others is, at what point does it get so far that no coach is going to be able to keep his job if
Are guys going to be allowed to they wouldn't be allowed to cuss to their players soon? Are people going to start getting offended by that?
Well,
Like,
and
what's-
again, I'm just saying
where
where
does it stop?
if you're a coach, you're Steve Sarkisian this morning, you're waking up going, man, I better be making sure none of this. I mean, what line is okay? Yeah, obviously homoerotic and
Right.
sexualized things and nudity and those kind of things that can't be going on.
I took stuff to my own hands with my own players about the way they presented themselves about women, what they would say. I had meetings about, I got daughters, guys. I don't want to use that term.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that term in the meeting or around me when you refer to women and the way you talk about them. I said, I got daughters, don't want to hear it, don't ever want to hear it. I mean, I started that early out in my career when I first started coaching. That was one of the things because guys have a way of talking about women in different terms, and I'm not talking
Locker room
about round
talk,
shoulder.
per se.
I'm talking about disgusting terms. I would be like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it in the meeting. I don't want to hear it. If I walk by you and you're stretching, and I don't even want to hear you talk about that. I don't want to hear it said that way.
Well, and it's also, I don't know that it matters, but Northwestern went 1-11 last year, and it was a terrible season. And so there's disgruntled players. Pat Fitzgerald's been a great. But that's the argument for Pat Fitzgerald. He's as he wrote in his statement. 99% of our players had great experience at our program. They've gone on record saying so. I hate that there's 1% that.
Well, yeah,
that
and
are-
there's others that can that kind of hazing doesn't bother them.
I know.
I mean
Yeah,
it's just not. They just think that's just a part of what you do when you go to teams, but it doesn't make your team
Well, look,
better. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's tough for a guy who's been there 17 years. But when he says, I mean, obviously when they say there's no indication that he knew anything about it, but I'm going to say whether you knew, you need to know about it. Somebody has told you, Coach, this is
running naked kids in a shower as the running
at your
quote,
facility at your
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah. But at the same time, to Ty's point, not advocating this, but the whole this goes on. At what point does it get to what's the tipping point to where if it bothers me, if it bothers a player and he whistle blows and
That's when it is. Yeah,
Well,
just what you said. There's a tipping point.
Well, I also don't think if this was happening at Texas and someone got upset, I don't think Sark would get fired. Not that it is, but Northwestern's kind of a different situation in my eyes of their priorities as a as an institution.
Okay, that's
More Ivy League-esque.
Look, we don't know Pat Fitzgerald behind the scenes, what he does behind the program, but I would argue that if 99% of the players who have played for him or are playing for him advocate for him, that's a pretty good sign. And I'm not saying, but you know,
It seemed like he was keeping his job at this point because he was just a good leader of men.
That's his argument, and he's been a pillar of that for a long, long time. There'll be more developed. Obviously, there'll be more reporting on this, and we'll talk about it as it goes. But it's an interesting conversation, to say the least. We'll come back. When we do, we'll pick up the David Pierce conversation. David Pierce taking the reins of his own pitchers. You know, he couldn't find the pitching coach he wanted that did it exactly like he wanted to, so he said, you know what, I'll do it. He is going to be the pitching coach at Texas. Troy Tulowitzki's coming back. We'll get you details there. Plus, let's have a lively blitz before the end of the hour. That's coming your way, plus some gossip. It's B&E on the Horn. Sharp Vision, modern LASIK, folks. Just that, getting your LASIK in your eyes corrected. Vision correction, that's what it's about. And no one does it better than Sharp Vision. They've been 3 years in a row voted by the readers of the Austin American-Statesman the best of the best in the corrective eye LASIK category, because working with Dr. Nicholas Lancaster and his great team is it's an easy experience, right? They're great people. They understand you're coming in. You want to know what's going on, why you know the glasses and contacts, why your vision might be deteriorating. So you take that simple eye test. And then you'll discover, and they'll tell you that 9 out of 10 people discover that they do have a procedure that they can get your vision corrected, get you out of the glasses, get you out of the contacts. Then they'll talk to you about your options to move forward, what that vision procedure looks like. If it's a high budget thing, well, they can talk to you about their offer right now, which is how about guaranteed financing for up to 2 years with no interest. I'll spread out the payments, make this thing happen so you get that clear vision you're seeking. They've also got procedures that start as low as $495 per eye. And again, you're working with the best of the best. All you have to do is call them, set up that easy appointment, 596-2020. That's 512-596-2020. Find them online at sharp-vision.com. Book an appointment right there on their website. That's sharp with an E-vision.com. Sharp Vision, modern LASIK, the official LASIK provider of Austin FC. gamblers for sure, and Buck Off Thursday coming up in 2 days. But you can always deliver a buck off and buck on to that lady that delivered a 13-pound baby. The guy who said his wife delivered an 11.5-pound toddler, sent us the picture. Big baby.
Big baby.
Big old chunky monkey.
Nice.
Chunk monster.
That is
beautiful
cool.
Beautiful baby. But here's a lot of great texts on the conversation around Northwestern. This says, guys, defending abuse is just crazy. Ty, are we really arguing that we can't tell the difference between hazing and something that is actually sexual abuse or assault? The old excuse that, well, they've done it in the past or boys will be boys is complicit. There was hazing at TCU that happened my freshman year that most of our team knew was effed up, and by the time we were upperclassmen, it had gone away. Not trying to be the morality police, but surely whipping naked freshmen with your junk is a line crossed. Comparing that to cussing is wild. So, true.
Well, I didn't know people were getting whipped with their junk. I don't know. I didn't read the details. I'm just saying.
That's the important part.
As a society,
well,
maybe we need to.
No, a coach will never get fired for cussing.
Oh, who knows?
No, I don't. I know.
We thought 20 years ago no one would get fired for this. 10 years ago.
I think 20 years ago no one would have said anything.
I mean, this
day
much
and age,
worse
it's gonna get talked
stuff
about.
than this happens every single day on college campuses.
Well,
with fraternities and stuff like
that's
that.
not wrong for the texter's point to try to not to
Yeah, I
make
hope
sure
it
it doesn't
doesn't.
happen.
I'm not trying
Yeah.
to normalize sexual abuse. I'm just saying.
I
If
just
you're a
hope it-
freshman and you didn't run and you weren't, missed a tackle, and all of a sudden you're getting, naked dudes,
Yeah, that shouldn't be happening.
dry humping.
That should not
you.
be happening.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I would think if you're the father or mother of one of these freshmen that you had a bad practice and they've pointed you out to come and do those things too.
Right.
I mean, that's not what you went to recruit. You didn't say, "Oh, this is part of our get together to make him a man." That doesn't work. That won't work that way.
Well, I mean,
Now the guys have their little deals within their own groups and stuff. I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, let me just say this, and this is why we said yesterday, props to the Northwestern School paper and those who diligently did reporting on this, because that was going to be whoever was the whistleblower on this, and now we all read the reports of the car wash and the running and those things. That shouldn't be going on. No one would. But it took a player going to a paper, and think about that school paper. They know how popular Pat Fitzgerald is. They know this was going to be a major problem for the school. He's the biggest figure on the campus. He's been there
17 years. Yeah, you're right.
He's won Big Ten, played in Big Ten championship games. I mean, but at the same time, right's right, wrong. That's wrong.
And they're putting their program at risk, a team that's already at risk with,
Now, here's what I'll say for Pat Fitzgerald. Should he have been fired? I can have that debate. Should he have been suspended for a year? Should he have been, I don't know, but should he have lost his job based on this if within the president's own writing that we could find no connection that he actually knew this was going on?
Yeah, that's true. That's a different story.
If they were winning, he wouldn't have got fired.
No,
If they were 1-11 last year. I mean, he probably would have been fired if he wasn't Pat Fitzgerald. And he hadn't been there for 17 years.
I think there is an argument to be made that if 99% of the former players and current players are in full support of Pat Fitzgerald, that doesn't make what was going on right at all. It makes it, well, you got to get that fixed, Coach. You got to clean that up. It should have never happened.
Sure, you're absolutely right.
You should have known. There's an argument to be made that the guy who's been around 17 years, you say, we got to get this right, Coach. Because again, the texter who sounds like he played football at TCU saying, we, the players, realized that was effed up and we got rid of it. We decided that wasn't going to keep happening. Well, that's good. That's what you want. But should it have cost him his job, I think, is a fair question. Maybe it should. But at the same time, from a 2-week suspension to termination is a big jump.
In a quick period. Like, bang, you're done.
For the school president who made that decision to not have a press conference and discuss it. Now, again, his lawyers probably said, don't go near a microphone. He's going to come after us. He's under contract because whatever.
A lot of mixed feelings on the text line about this one.
Well, I think here's what I believe.
Agree.
I believe if you read the Northwestern school paper reporting about the running and the car wash and other things that have gone on, I don't think there would be mixed opinion. I think it's kind of like Utah, that people who have not read the details.
Can you explain what that is to me on the air?
It's graphic. Well, I just did. They put freshmen in showers. They run them through a car wash and naked,
Is the car
and they dry
wash
hump
a
them.
bunch of guys?
Yes, bunch of naked dudes dry humping people. Guys wearing masks. I mean, it's stuff that if your kid came home to you and said this went on in the locker room, you'd be furious.
Absolutely.
But that's not.
If you're the parent of a kid,
that's not making me better.
If you're a parent of a kid, you're not going. Most dads now are not going to go, oh, you know what? That's just a part of a kid.
Deal with it, kid.
Yeah.
It's definitely pretty weird.
It's very weird.
Yes.
It's just, that's.
So at the same time, but
when I just asked the question, can Pat Fitzgerald ever just say, he has to say, I have no clue.
Yeah.
And he
I
still
did
lost
just
his
read
job.
the details, by the way.
And he just lost his job.
So I do have a better understanding of things, but I still.
And I think most people who are arguing on your side haven't read the full report. And that's why those people did great reporting, and that's why I think the president came. Because, again, the folks who say, yes, of course Pat Fitzgerald deserved to lose his job, they were the ones outraged after reading the reports and understanding what was happening, who said only 2 weeks? Really? 2 weeks. For the president's judgment, if he had suspended him for 6 months, for a couple of, first part of the season.
Game, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And say, Coach, we got to get this fixed. This is unacceptable.
You've got this amount of time to fix this.
We can't prove that you should have known, that you knew, but you should know what's going on in your program. And, for someone who's been as upstanding and as a good coach as he has for so long, could you argue that, let's get this thing right and get this rooted out of the program, but we're still going to keep you as our football coach? That's a good debate. That's a healthy debate as far as whether this is right or wrong.
Well, and then for upcoming coaches, this is something that you need to know. You need to understand as a young coach coming into this business of things, because this ain't over with. There are going to be some individual lawsuits going against Pat Fitzgerald himself and that university. I mean, this isn't over. This isn't over right here with that.
All right, and that's where it stands for Pat Fitzgerald. But good stuff right there. We'll get back to the Texas baseball. Texas baseball had a good day yesterday. Let's just put that as a bumper sticker. We have more time to talk about it in our next hour, but it was a good day for Texas baseball, I believe, because and as I said earlier, I give credit to putting the thought in my own head to Jeff Howe from Light the Tower, because Jeff covers the baseball program for 24/7, Horns 24/7, and for us in an incredible way. And he said something the other day, just as a remark, that he had been talking with David Pierce, and then he said, Jeff said this. He said, it feels like to me that David Pierce, if he could hire a coach who would coach pitchers just like he does, or he did, that would be the perfect guy. And then I'm starting to rattle around my head. I'm thinking, well, maybe he's just going to make himself the pitching coach. Maybe he's just going to take the gig, because he's not going to find someone who's going to do it exactly like he does. And we know, if you know David Pierce's history, when at Rice, he was the pitching coach for Wayne Graham and did a great job, got a great track record of developing pitchers and winning. And so, you can understand that he wants someone to do it. So he's watching over there how they're developing the pitcher, saying, no. So instead of it, he now has built a staff around him, bringing Troy Tulowitzki back. I do think hiring Steve Rodriguez, who is 20 years a head coach himself at Pepperdine and Baylor, all that experience. Tulo's back. You know what you're getting in your other coaches. Now you can maybe become the pitching coach, and it's an important role, and it's a putting yourself out there moment for David Pierce. That I think I'm the right person for this job, and I'm going to do it. So give David Pierce at least the credit for that. And you also, as we said, the fact that Tanner Witt and LeBaron Johnson Jr. weren't drafted in the first 10 rounds. Good chance they're back. Good chance they're back pitching for Texas next year. And
well, if you're a Texas fan, you're hoping that's a win-win.
They're definitely going to get drafted today, though, right?
Most likely, yeah.
Most likely, but then the money drops pretty dramatically, and they could probably do as well here on NIL deals. And think about Tanner Witt, a guy who, if he had gone, he was drafted out of high school. He could have gone straight, but he wanted to come pitch at Texas. Then he gets hurt, and obviously the Tommy John surgery. And this year he came back in late April, and just he couldn't throw much over 90 miles an hour at the time. So he now has a full off season with a bit of a chip on his shoulder to come back and say, you know what, if I get this thing right, if I follow doctor's orders and come back with a full off season and a regimen, he can be a Friday night starter, and he can get back to that mid-90s, upper 90s guy who all of a sudden is back in the conversation for a first-round draft pick next year, which that's the kind of pitcher you want. You want someone pitching for a carrot in addition to trying to win for the University of Texas, because he's a great teammate. LeBaron Johnson Jr. has another year. Talk about the dramatic leap from a guy who, they didn't know what his role was going to be to start the season to becoming their best pitcher near the end. Well, he comes back too. And, David Pierce will be the pitching coach. That's a pretty good place to start. And, they only lost one commitment off of their recruiting class. And that was Travis Sikora, but that was expected. There was very few folks who thought Travis was going to come pitch here at Texas, and he ends up 71st overall. He'll make a bunch of money with the Washington Nationals, and good luck to him. But
that's what you get to do if you're the head coach. I mean, I'm pretty sure if he wanted to get another pitching coach, he could have. He could have gone to CDC and said, "Hey, I'm looking for another coach." Okay, go out and get one. Yeah. But he said, I think I can do that job. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I think David Pierce will say, I know I can do the job. I've done it. I've been there. I got it. But you also, because if you're going to take on the full-time pitching coach duties with some assistants, that's going to devote a lot of time. So you make sure your staff is ready to handle some of the other duties that maybe you're going to leave that they need done.
That has to still be done.
They have to still be done.
Yeah.
So, but chill. That's interesting for Texas. And the name of the kid to watch for is out of Los Angeles, California, Will Gasparino. Most people thought he and Tanner Witt and LeBaron Johnson Jr., most, not just people around Austin, but around baseball, thought all three of those guys would be picked in the first 10 picks for sure. And none were. Gasparino, 6'6", 215-pounder, he's the son of the director of amateur scouting for the LA Dodgers, so a baseball family. He has already confirmed that he's coming to the 40 acres, and so he'll be playing here at Texas next year. Jared Thomas, Jalen Flores, some of those young dudes that were here. We'll wait today and see between rounds 11 and 20 if where the likes of Porter Brown, Garrett Gilmette, Eric Kennedy, some of these guys, hopefully they hear their names today and can go off and begin their pro careers. We'll come back, load up the Blitz. That's a good one on a Tuesday. Fired up on B&A, plus some gossip in there. Plenty of that going on these days in and around Austin. We'll have the gossip, plus your Blitz coming next. No games, just the gossip on this 7-Eleven day. That's Slurpee time. Did you ask the question, is it okay to mix your Slurpees?
Yeah, I did. I asked Ty, are you allowed to do that?
Like,
Cherry
do you like
Coke.
the Arnold Palmer
Cherry
thing?
Coke, the Cherry Coke. Did you do that?
I like the Dr. Pepper one too, honestly.
Oh, really?
And you ever put alcohol in your Slurpee, Ty? Is that legal too?
I think I have.
Little
Not while I'm
vodka.
driving. Not till I get
not
home.
while you're driving. Never do that, obviously.
No,
I
I've
have a
never mixed my
question in
Slurpees.
Salacious Gossip brought to you by the Icy Cold Bud Lights. Of course, Slurpees are icy cold, and they're free today, apparently.
So we
Today
get
is-
the brain freeze.
Yeah, here's what it says here for Slurpees. 7-Eleven, during their promo, anybody can walk in at a free small Slurpee, no purchase necessary. Reward members, if you're a reward member, like Ty's a reward member like a million fast food chains,
I got my membership there.
reward members can also get dollar deals on hot dogs and other
Oh,
snacks.
no, don't touch that. Hey,
here
don't
we
touch
go.
the
They got
rotisserie dog
Don't
today. Everybody's
touch
hand.
the wiener.
Don't touch the
the
wiener.
pizza and the wings are really good at 7-Eleven.
They're so good for you, too, but
The quality isn't.
I get over to that hard-boiled egg section.
Oh,
Sandwiches.
he goes over there where it's good. The good hard-boiled eggs,
Give me some of that
the
good,
lettuce,
good
the
stuff. So get your free Slurpee. Also pick up some icy cold Bud Lights while you're there. They bring you Salacious Gossip. It's the official domestic beer partner of your Texas Longhorns, the Texas X's, and the Texas OU game. All right, so here's interesting. You're a bald guy. You cut your own hair now.
I do.
Ty, are you a fan of the chatty hairstylist, or you just prefer to leave the conversation to a minimum?
Depends.
Ooh,
Depends on who she is.
Is it
Or him or she.
What does it depend? How annoying they are?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you start the conversation. Usually, I'm not going to initiate anything, and if I'm not, they can tell if I'm disinterested because I usually stop talking after about.
Well, I'm
3
awful because I
minutes.
talk to the people at the toilet.
Here's what I
Whoa,
think.
what?
When at the urinal,
Oh, I do that. I do that.
do you?
Yeah.
He doesn't talk to people at the urinal.
You do that with me all
No.
the time.
Well,
Every
I
time.
talk, yeah,
I
if
don't.
I'm next to you, I'll say, "Hey, how's your day
It's
going?"
kind of like shopping. I'm in for a purpose. I'm out. It's a
Yeah,
mission.
and I don't need to talk. I don't have a conversation with you.
I'm a big
There's
chat at the
nothing
urinal
that can
guy.
be said. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. There's very little that can be said. I shouldn't say very little while we're standing at the urinal, but there is very little that can be said that's going to improve this whole situation. So
It's
Or
not while I'm at the
brighten my
urinal.
day.
No, let me just take
And
my
that's
leak
similar-
and get out of
that's
here.
similar to what I thought with the hairstylist.
Yeah.
Is a lot of times it feels like they're just doing it because they feel like they need to make small talk. They really don't. Just cut my hair. Just get her done.
I'd be
get
good
that
with you.
tip.
I'd
But
be-
if they're nice and they're like, "How's your day going?" Going good. But I'm with Ty.
How do you
I'm
like the wait staff when you go to dinner that keeps coming back like every 3 minutes, like that overdoes
I'm
the
fine with
Oh,
that.
I got
Are you fine
I
with
got a
that?
guy at Monty's now.
Oh.
Wait, he takes our table every time, but he comes and chats. I kind of like it, like getting updates on his life.
I like
No,
it.
He gives us
Dave.
free
I like the.
guacamole, little
I'm a
queso.
fan of the chatty waiter
Are you a fan of chatty waiter?
and the chatty bartender. I like chatty bartenders.
I like chatty bartenders. Waiters,
Good chatty
no.
bartender, underrated.
Let me eat this meal, please. No, everything's good. It was good 2 minutes ago when you came and asked me, how's the meal? It's great.
Well, they're checking on you. That's what they're supposed to do. What I don't like is I'm in an actual store because you know me, I go in to shop or purchase. I'm not. Can I help you? Can I help you? No. Good. I know. Get out of my way. Tunnel vision.
I know what I'm looking
I don't
for.
need your help. And if I didn't need your help, I wouldn't ask you. Now, if I get to the point where I can't find what I'm here
I'll
to
ask
purchase,
you
I
to-
will find you. Because now I can't find it. So help me out here, brother. Okay, so that's there. What else do we have today on Salacious Gossip?
13-pound baby.
It is Amazon today. It's Amazon Day. Get ready for that. And this is very sad. There's a surfing star. If you follow surfing, you probably know this guy. Michaela Jones, or Mikala, Mikala. Well, unfortunately, he has tragically died after part of his surfboard reportedly severed his femoral artery
Oh,
during a freak accident over the weekend. It all happened at the Aurora Resort in North Sapporo. According to Surfline, when the fin of Jones' surfboard appeared to cause a huge gash near his left groin, outlet reports the medical personnel raced to assist him, rushed into the hospital, but sadly, too much blood.
too much blood.
He
Yep.
was just 44 years old.
That's sad.
Well, it's a risk sport, one of those, right? And it's going to happen. That seems like a weird way, but I guess you can see that happening. It's moving at high speeds, and that little fin that keeps it balanced got him
Hits
in the
that
wrong
artery.
spot. Sad. Reminds you of tragically. Remember when the crocodile hunter was killed with the stingray during that thing that got him right through his heart?
Isn't that the great football player Sean was with the Washington Redskins?
Sean Taylor.
He was shot
in his
with
own
the shot.
house.
Yeah, in the right
Home
there,
invaders.
in the thigh.
And we got him in the femoral artery.
Yeah.
Do you think the crocodiles were upset that it was the stingray that killed the crocodile hunter? We always wanted to kill that son of a gun.
Yeah, this is the way he needed to go.
What you called the crocodile hunter, making
Wow.
money on No, I'm just kidding. Let's go to the Blitz.
All right, first Blitzer, you're up.
Bud Light sales are down 30% dating back to last June. Erin, you're not doing your part. Bucky, you're not doing your part.
I'm trying to do my part.
I can't do my part in that part of it. Not
Enjoy
that I
the
can't.
Bud Lights.
Quitter, I'm a quitter. Next Blitzer, you're up.
Hey, coaches, they don't let hazing go on with champions. What I want to see is Elon Musk get bitch slapped, and Cocaine Bear, he didn't bring the cocaine into the White House.
Cocaine Bear. Next Blitzer, you're up.
You blitzers the last couple days have been pathetic. One blitzer, two blitzers. Come on, we're not always here to bail you out. Just because it's All-Star break and Craig Way's on the hiatus with Sports Report, step your game up, people. Come on.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Next Blitzer, you're up.
Morning, gentlemen. Y'all were talking about your favorite food at 7-Eleven. My favorite is roasted nuts. What do you think?
What do you think? Next Blitzer, you're up.
Hey, I heard you guys are hiring the White House press secretary to run interference on what's going on at the Horn. Is that true?
We're not.
No, we
Think
haven't.
we're hiring anyone.
No, no one. Next Blitzer, you're up.
Yeah, I got a hazing ritual those boys wouldn't mind. This is the captain of the Duke lacrosse team.
Oh, no.
Wow. Next Blitzer, talk to us.
Bucky,
What's up, man?
say, well, I want to bam maul you. It sound like it's eating a good home cooking plate of food.
Oh, God. Next Blitzer,
Home
you're
cooking.
up.
Coach,
Yes, sir.
did I hear you correctly on what he said about his hairdresser, that he doesn't like to tip them and he just wants them to shut their pie hole and
I
cut
tipped
his
them
hair?
well.
He tips well.
I tipped them well. The last haircut I got, if you're watching.
Just want him to shut their pie hole and cut my hair.
Shut it.
Just cut my hair. Don't talk to me.
You know where I've taken to get my haircut? Because it's not very difficult, is Sports Clips.
Ooh,
Really?
I can't.
Why?
With this mane.
Well, you have long, flowy locks. I don't.
Well,
Mine's a
actually,
snip,
last time I went
snip,
to
and a tuck,
Finley's,
tuck.
they jacked me up.
See?
What
See
Ty
what you
needs
pay for that bad boy.
Ty needs a specialist.
And gosh, it was so nice because Sports Clips, you can check in online, so you don't have to wait in line. What am I doing, a commercial for them now? But then the lady was nice enough to put the Astros game on because it was a day game. I was like, sweet. And then I gave her $7.
Did you get a head massage with that too? Do they do that? The whole?
I don't do that.
You don't go through all that.
Oh, I
just
do
cut
it.
my. Oh, do you do?
Oh, I do that.
I pass
Big
on
time.
the
The back massage, the head
stranger.
massage, the
I pass on the,
conditioning.
but they don't even do like the massage. They get this machine out.
Really don't. They don't go hand to hand combat there.
I'm
I don't
you
know
know
those
me.
big
I'm
man hands on my back.
Big man hands on your head.
big mitts. You know, I'm not big on stranger touching.
There you go.
Yeah,
Stranger
but no, they
danger.
pull out this thing that looks kind of like a drill meets a sex toy.
Around your neck?
Yeah,
No.
it's a massager. That's what it's called. All right, hey, let's.
rather have that hand to hand combat.
We'll be back. We're not done yet. We have another hour to do damage. We'll be back. Beanie on the Horn. Guess this whole Victor Wembanyama mania is for real. Not surprising, but according to the folks at ESPN, Victor Wembanyama's San Antonio Spurs debut on the Summer League game last Friday night, 1.39 million viewers. Second most ever in an NBA Summer League game. And now he's done. They're shutting down. He had played 2 games. He's done. But there will be a Victor Wembanyama effect this year as far as TV ratings. People are just going to
sure.
tune in to see the French phenom. Wemby Mania, as they call it. But, yeah, he's done. Spurs said no more. Get to the weight room.
Are they done with games, or this Summer League still continues to go?
Yeah,
they do all the way through?
Several weeks. And there's, by the way, look at that. You like the sphere, the eyeball in Vegas? Look at that. See how they did a basketball like that?
That's the sphere right there?
That's the sphere.
Very nice.
Yeah. We've seen it look like an eyeball. We've seen it look like a lava lamp. This is it looks like a great big basketball and says welcome NBA 2K Summer League NBA. It's like a big billboard, but it's
so the NBA now has a bunch of their gear and stuff in there for sale, doing all that right now.
I don't think so. That's an arena. That's an event center. I don't know what's going on inside.
I was thinking they had their.
They're playing Summer League up in there. I don't know. They probably could at some point. That's going to be
Taylor Swift up in there.
Well, think about that when you go to Vegas next. And how soon can the Oakland A's get moved to Vegas so I can go see an Astros series in Vegas one summer soon? That would be great. Right on the Strip and go see the eyeball, the sphere.
Oh, dude, they're having a Super Bowl there this year, so that's going to be crazy. Stuff they're going to do with that big eyeball.
The big eyeball. You can do a lot with that.
Has Serge Rice not been playing for the Spurs?
He's on a 2-way contract, which means he could either be on the Spurs or the G League.
Well, he might. I think they have multiple like summer league.
Yeah,
they'll take different sets of guys. So maybe I don't know. I watched the Spurs the other night. I didn't notice him out there.
We're hoping for Serge Ibaka to make his way. Okay, so the Pat Fitzgerald story was a big one last hour. David Pierce with the move to make himself the pitching coach, which is a bold one, but I think has a chance to pay dividends. I love the return of Troy Tulowitzki to the Longhorn program, and I love the title too, right? It's not a coaching role. He can't recruit, but it's player development. The idea that to make players better. And if you go back and listen, by the way, can we say, Buck on, congratulations to Ivan Melendez. Had a
hell of a year.
Up to the AA level now. By the way, the Arizona Diamondbacks are in first place in the NL West, and they got one of the best young teams. They're doing a great job of scouting and development. Ivan's a part of that. You could see Ivan making that move through their system. He's having a heck of a run at the A-ball level, tearing the cover off the ball. Ivan Melendez is a professional hitter, but he would tell you that his work with Troy Tulowitzki was as impactful as anything as far as his development, going from good hitter to the greatest hitter in the history of the program. And not lost on David Pierce. That can we get Troy back doing what just let By the way, I heard Mike Hard say this yesterday that Troy Tulowitzki did get his degree, which is big. Remember, if he wanted to be a coach, he has to get graduated, which he's done. So Troy Tulowitzki has a future coaching college baseball, and because he has a passion for college baseball. That's why he's coming back. I think is that he just missed it. He missed being around the game, being around the guys.
And was not his wife pregnant? Weren't they expecting
got kids,
expecting a child?
I remember last year when he visited USC for the head coaching job, but I think at the end he hadn't graduated yet, so I don't think either school could, by their own rules, hire him to be their coach. And so he came back here. His wife, I believe, has started a business here. Like they're invested in Central Texas. They love it here, so they're kind of got roots planted, and so. Why not? Go be around the yard, go develop young ball players. And because the one thing I think that I've been told about Troy is he's got a great eye for, a kid's weakness. Like how could we work on this? How can we help you? We this is the stuff that's going to get noticed when you're going to, draft camps and draft tryouts and things. Let's work on this. Let's refine the edges. And yeah, you're a good ball player. You wouldn't be at Texas without it. And, for David Pierce, if he's going to coach the pitchers, his main mission now is, let's cut down the walks. Let's develop some arms. Let's get our bullpen guys locked in behind it. Looks like the starting staff has a chance to be really good if Tanner Witt comes back healthy with LBJ. And again, I'm saying these things on a Tuesday where, to Ty's point, if they get drafted in the 11th round today, either one of those guys could choose still to go pro. They absolutely could. I think most people look at it and say, you know what, the upside ceiling is still better coming back, getting back in the draft next year and getting yourself into the top 5 rounds. of the draft, or even higher for a guy like Tanner Witt and LBJ. They both have, top 50 kind of arms, I think, if healthy. But so we'll see. We'll follow that development. But David Pierce has some pretty good to work with. Now they're. Can you imagine? Look at somebody just CB just says the picture of the sphere where it was like a big circle, like the moon, and then all of a sudden an eye opened. That would freak you out.
If you're driving.
You're driving down the road.
Slam on the brakes.
Big old eyeball, like a cat in your face or something. No way, man. Out. But that's cool. That technology is amazing. When's like Discovery Channel going to do like a full documentary on how they built that thing and what the technology is behind it?
My goodness.
Sure I could find it on YouTube somewhere, but I'm now interested. My interest is piqued. I'm in on that. And how about when you next time you go to Vegas, that's where this started. You go see that? You got to go tour it? I want to go in that place.
Absolutely. I want to go
casino
inside.
In there?
Huh?
Casino in there?
I was thinking if they have any slots in that bad boy.
Strip clubs up in here? What are we doing
the
up
eyeball.
This says Serge Bar Rice has a medical problem. That's why he has not played. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
It looks like he's secured his, two-way contract already, so he'll at least be on the splitting time on the G-League team, right? Cool.
Somebody says Tulo has a gorgeous home on the water in River Place. I wouldn't want to leave either. Yeah, that's what I was told by many, that they like it in Austin. They came here for a reason, and actually they came here to coach, but at the same time, Austin's a cool place, especially if you live on the water.
What do you feel like, E, that the most asked question to Sark will be coming up
tomorrow? Yeah, Big 12 Media Days.
Will it be about the quarterback play? Will it be mostly
question?
Mostly about quarterback play. How's the development of not just your starting quarterback, but the rest of the quarterbacks? Is that going to be the main?
I do think they're taking their quarterback, Quinn Ewers, and I think he will be the player that's there tomorrow
Sure.
of the 7 teams and of the, 35 players that'll be there tomorrow, and 35 players that will be gain the most attention tomorrow is Quinn Ewers. People will want to see the freshly clean haircutted Quinn Ewers and talk to him. But yes, for Sark, I think the natural question is handling expectation. And I know Sark, you could preview what Sark's going to say tomorrow when he was on the Greg McElroy podcast last week, and we played a lot of that sound, that team on a mission. This is what my confidence is coming from the team.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how he talks about his run game.
Yeah, I think so too. That's probably the best question.
A lot to replace there.
Well, we talk about irreplaceable Longhorns, most important Longhorns, not the most talented Longhorns, but man, we talk about Jalen Ford. Think about this though. If you're Steve, we don't ever want to think about injuries, but injuries happen. This is when you go to irreplaceable, most important. I talked about last week that Jalen Ford, because the guy behind him isn't close to the player that he is.
No.
And you could argue that at receiver and some other places you might have some guys that you feel like can come in and there's not a huge drop off. I would list Jalen Ford. I would list Kelvin Banks, because when I look at offensive lines, Kelvin Banks, a left tackle. To me, the offensive line, I compare it to a bullpen in baseball. The closer is so important. If you got that guy that gets the last 3 outs, it just helps the whole bullpen fall in line of who's the 8th inning guy, who's the 7th inning guy. Even on an offensive line, if you have the left tackle position secured, and you also know you have Jake Majors playing center, you feel like you can build a pretty good offensive line around that.
Yeah, and the big kid coming back is huge.
Christian Jones. Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
You can say what you want about that kid, but that is huge for this football team on the offensive line.
But if you lose Kelvin Banks for any extended time, and again, these are things you don't want to think about, but they they could happen. You probably are moving Christian Jones over to left tackle. You're shuffling things, and that's just you don't. But then the other one I would say is Jonathan Brooks. To your point about the run game. We all talk about, the offensive line will be improved and they have guys. Well, Jonathan Brooks, especially early in the year. You need to have a guy.
You can try to get 3 guys or 2 guys, and here's what we're going to do. But you have to have the guy. He's got to be the guy.
Steve Sarkisian, I'm Tashard Choice. I'm thinking when we get to the start of the season, I have to have a healthy Jonathan Brooks.
Yes.
Because behind him are pretty unknown commodities. Jonathan Brooks unknown, but he's the most experienced in the program. At least you can say that he had a great game in the bowl game.
We've seen him on film and what he can really do.
He's played behind Roshan and Bijan for several years.
That's right.
Has kind of been taught the ways of the program. Feel good about it.
He's also been in games where he's had good games, even backing them up.
But it doesn't say you lost him. Well, now where are you going, right? Now you're looking at C.J. Baxter. You're looking at Keelan Robinson, who's more of a stretch player, trying to get to the edges with him. Same with Jaden Blue. You need Jonathan Brooks to be healthy.
Yes, you do. You're absolutely right.
You need that guy because I think there are people in the program that think that C.J. Baxter, as the year goes on, as a freshman, gets more and more comfortable.
Well, you hope that he is that next guy.
But
that
early
he can
in
go
the
in
year,
there if you need him for 3 games to be your starter, can start. But early in the year, you're absolutely right, because if it was, if he was that great, he'd be starting early. I mean, immediately. If he was that guy, if he was that stud.
Bijan didn't start by. He started by Oklahoma, but he didn't start.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I just will expect, and I know you have higher expectations, but typically a running back as a freshman doesn't start making his biggest impact until midseason or beyond. And
I think he'll be starting by Oklahoma.
Well, that'd be good.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he's
unless Jonathan Brooks is tearing it up.
Tearing it up, right?
Which I expect him to be tearing it up. I don't know what you call tearing it up, but I expect him to be better than just average.
Yeah,
with an offensive line
but
like
I think
that.
those 2 guys will be your 2 bell
and then
guys.
that's fine.
Well, and I think Sark can use his weaponry to create running lanes, right? I mean, stretch the field a little bit. And you put Isaiah Nair, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, and Jatavion Sanders on the field,
and A.D. Mitchell too.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but that's how often are they going to? If you're going with J.T. Sanders, you could only have 3 receivers, most likely.
You do not think A.D. Mitchell will be out there with?
Well, yeah, maybe. They're going to rotate guys. Any of those guys.
Yeah.
Let's go A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington. Okay. And then you've got Jatavion Sanders at tight end. You have to have your pass defense ready to go. I mean, you just
for sure.
Which should make your running game better. You have to be concerned about those dudes. I mean, who's got who? I mean, and then we know Sark does all the fly motion and people are moving everywhere. That kind of stuff can help the run game because Buck, if you hold up the linebacker just a little bit, you hold him with a rush motion, you hold him with a fly sweep motion. That holds the linebacker for half a step or the edge player. That should help the running game in itself, right? And you can't just stack the line when you got those dudes and Quinn Ewers and the ability to throw the football down the field and the propensity for play action. So, but again, you
got a runner who is the number 1 running back in the
state.
I mean,
well, Jonathan Brooks was state.
C.J.
Baxter
was
country.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That guy has to be.
He should make an impact this year. I agree with you. I think Jonathan Brooks is going to be really good, especially with all those speed
I think
weapons.
he's going to be good. I'm saying he
that
needs
pounder element to it.
I'm saying, especially early in the year, he needs to be healthy.
Yes,
you can't get him nicked up in training camp, and because
there's a lot of knocking on wood around here lately. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, but that's right.
Although the top you don't have a Bijan, top end talent, but I think that the room is deeper than it has been.
Let's be fair. We got to stop with Bijan because Bijan was a generational player.
Oh, I know, but I think you have more options this year than you had last year. Even though you had arguably 2 better running backs than anyone you have in this room.
Well, I was much more surprised than I thought it'd ever be when I saw Jonathan Brooks, the way he ran, his acceleration, his ability to find a hole. And I mean, his breakaway speed, I mean,
he had that
when he's gone,
screen pass.
When he's gone, he's gone. I mean, that's one of those deals that guy's just going to outrun you. But he's got some power behind him, and he can find the holes. But you also have an offensive line I think is going to be out to prove, hey, we're just not just great pass protectors. Banks as a tackle is going to be. I got to be able to run block too.
Power run them. Yeah.
There's a lot of things you would Bijan Robinson you didn't have to do that well.
Says I'm with Buck. Jonathan Brooks is going to have a very good year. No, I'm presenting wrong. I'm saying he's one of the most irreplaceable players on the team.
Yeah. Well, you're saying the right thing.
I mean, I'm just saying, especially early, because C.J. Baxter by midseason may become a guy that challenges Jonathan Brooks for carries. Same time, that Alabama game's week 2. I mean,
he has to be special if you roll him out as a freshman to beat out a guy like that.
We know how we cover training camp. What you don't need is, Jonathan Brooks got his ankle rolled up on week 2 of practice in a scrimmage. You're like,
or
man,
another hernia.
Yeah, shut him down. Get this guy ready for week 1. I think he's that important because I firmly believe this. I think the defense takes another step forward and is even better this year. And I think if they can run the football consistently and give Quinn Ewers play action, this has a chance to be a tremendous offense. Because at that point, you have what do? But if you're a defensive coordinator, you're going to try to stop the run first. You're going to try to make sure, because if you can, then you put the game in Quinn Ewers' hands a little bit. And he showed you at times last year, if he's got to make multiple reads and go through progressions, he can struggle. Because look, as a defensive coordinator, you're looking at it, you can look at it and say, man, they're really good.
Well, that's all those.
Really
that's
talented,
pressure.
so I got to find something.
That's pressure to make plays. And if you don't have a chance not to put him in all those situations that often.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you have a healthy Jonathan Brooks to start the year, you were going to be able to run the football early, which sets up play action. If you're a defensive coordinator and all of a sudden Brooks is not there, well, then you got Jaden Blue or Keelan Robinson or a freshman, and you're like, okay, we can attack that a little bit.
Sure.
We can get after that a little bit. At least it gives us a chance here, because if they can run it, we're in trouble, because my guys can't cover all those guys.
Once again, for
we
me,
can't double them all. We don't have enough guys on the field.
Once again, for me, for Sanders, it's coach, you got to get him involved in your game plan early in football games.
Yeah. Well, and here's a guy that says, so
Early.
the most irreplaceable player is JT Sanders. It goes unnoticed a little bit on that. If you go back to last year, when Texas, last game of the year in the regular season, playing Baylor, and they realized that the offensive line was struggling with Dave Aranda's, pass rush, and struggling. Quinn Ewers not having a great game. And they just saddled up the run game in that fourth quarter, and Bijan and Roschon over and over. Go back and watch those drives. Jatavion Sanders, wearing number 0, lined up in a flex spot and just started pounding people. He became the extra offensive lineman for them, and it was impressive. I mean, you're playing a physical Baylor defense at that point, and he was awesome. If that guy takes another step.
As I said, get him involved early so he's involved late.
Well, he
mentally in games.
Well, if he continues on that progression where he can be a physical inline run blocker, because remember, they redshirted him as a freshman year as a 5-star, so he could learn the position, take to the physicality. Well, if you combine both with him this year and as a junior, well, now you could disguise your run game. You can be multiple. Are we running, throwing? Because JT can help you as another really good blocker. You can use him as kind of an H-back if you want to move him with motion
he's
a little
athletic
bit.
enough to get on gas in the secondary.
And then he's trouble in space, obviously, in the pass game. That guy, a lot of irreplaceable guys, but JT might be. At the end of the day, the way the texter says it, because JT makes you allow. Because the next guy behind JT Sanders is what, Gunnar Helm or Dwan Davis. JT is what, now what are they going to do? Are they running it? Are they throwing it? How do we cover all these guys if they do throw it? That might be a guy between Jalen Ford and JT Sanders, because it helps you disguise everything and be very multiple on every formation. Especially start going fast. Especially start going tempo. Keep that unit on the field and keep that defense and the personnel the same. Look out for Texas.
Well, if the other wide receiver coming off that knee is healthy, if he if he gets back very, very early, if by summertime towards the end he's ready to go and he's not like trying to feel his way, but actually ready to play, that's going to be huge. I think that still is a player we're all waiting to see.
Just got a note from our buddy Mike Hardball, who says we were talking about Victor Wembanyama and the mania. He says we're having Wemby's former teammate Tayshaun Thompson on at 4:30.
Awesome.
Today. So if you want to hear from somebody who played with Victor Wembanyama and got to know him and what he's all about, that'll be 4:30 today in the Hard Knock Life on Ball Don't Lie. So, and the Ball Don't Lie. Think that sphere in Vegas lies? That'll lie.
Yes. With all the advertisements going to play on there, there's going to be a lot of lies.
I'll think this for you with lies, Buck. Do you think the Texas Cheaters on a hot day at Twin Creeks today will be lying about where their ball went?
Not with the new markers that I have.
Oh, you breaking them out?
Yeah, I'm breaking them out. They're coming out. I'm saying, hey, here's Steve, you get the pink one. Paulie, you get the green for money one. Buck's got the red one because of the red ass that I have right now. And then, of course, Richard, who always has his little blue. He's the only one who always marks his ball blue. Blue stripe, blue dot.
That's the most
his ball.
common.
Yeah, and we know. Oh, that's Richard's ball. But Steve, who goes in the woods, and he hits one out, and he goes, oh, no, here's mine right here. What?
Got to get eyes on that. But, a lot of golf courses, including I got a note from Onion Creek where I live that it's cart path only. It's getting so hot.
It's getting crunchy out there.
Well, you shouldn't be out there anyhow, crying out loud.
Yeah, I've heard that from my wife.
But it's so hot that it's not because it's wet on
if
cart
you
path
go out
only.
there and die, I'm going to kill you.
Well, think about it. 115 today, and you can't get on the cart path. So this is if you're strategic enough, you can try to hit the ball towards the cart path and keep it so you're walking.
I'm not that good. It's going all kinds of ways.
Yeah, cart path only, heat. That sounds like I'm just going to go inside and take a nap. That's not cool. I'm out on that deal.
Yeah, and the hotter it gets, the more you can't put up with guys doing little things like teeing it up. Like, oh, you know what? This is in a divot. No, okay. Or you want to move it out of the divot and hit it on nice ground. I mean, that's just how it goes, isn't it?
That's how it goes. Hey, by the way, you know the Dan Patrick Show on radio? Dan Patrick? Are they listening to our show? They just put out a Twitter poll 12 minutes ago that said, most scared of encountering bear attack, shark attack, or alligator.
Well, there's a lot of shark stuff going on. I'm talking New York. 5 people got at the New York beach.
Didn't we just talk about that 30 minutes ago? Bear, shark versus now. And I said crocodile hunter with gators. Come on now. I know. Give me a break. Crocodiles are different, but not much.
I mean, the shock of being bit by a shark. Say you're out there swimming and that sucker hits you in the side.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be more than shock. You're gonna feel that.
I guess it's July. We got a lot to talk about though. This says the Sphere in Vegas will open with a U2 concert.
Very
and
nice.
A residency in the fall. I wonder what kind of money Bono and the guys are making for a residency at the Sphere.
Surprised Taylor Swift hadn't been all up in that eye.
I have a friend that works for Bono, like on his personal team.
Who's the comedian? Frank Caliendo?
Yes.
I heard him telling a story that he had a residency in Vegas, and he's very funny. And they're just looking to pack the house, right? Give more entertainment, sell tickets. Well, when he was doing his residency, he lived in the top floor.
That's his floor, right? Did he have that floor?
But he also had helicopter access to and from Las Vegas or to Los Angeles if he needed it. So he would go to Los Angeles for most of the time, and then he'd fly in, land on the top for his residency.
Well, my girl Celine had
and
the whole floor.
they also paid him a ton.
Yeah, how much do these guys? How much you get paid?
Bankrolled.
That seems like that's the best gig.
That's the best gig. You're not
probably
traveling.
You probably get some casino credit.
Oh, people are traveling to you. And I remember Caliendo, as funny as he was, like, hold on, I got access. I'm living in the penthouse. I'm eating the hotel food. Great chef. And you're paying me for this?
Yeah,
I got the helicopter
I think Britney Spears has been doing this since she was like 12, hasn't she?
Probably why she's so crazy.
That's the goal of entertainers.
I can't spend more than 3 days in Vegas. She's there her entire life.
Living on the floor, but the entire floor is her floor.
It's her hotel.
Well, think about it. Frank
All
Caliendo.
right, she thinks it's her hotel. You're right.
Frank Caliendo is a pretty big deal and a very funny guy. But think about a really big star.
Celine for all those years.
If he gets catered like that, I mean, what would Taylor Swift get?
Oh,
come on.
She had residency there?
Well, that's the cool part. Like Taylor Swift has this traveling massive road show, which is very impressive, 3 hours a night. But in Vegas, they come to you. You're not going anywhere. You're just chilling in the hotel.
It would take like $1 billion to get her to do that.
Said Elvis started it all. That's right. Colonel Parker and Elvis started it all back in the day. Okay, we'll come back. Remember that guest 4:30 today, Victor Wembanyama, his teammate on Ball Don't Lie. Mm-hmm. And don't be lying about your balls today on the golf course. It's B&E on the Horn. Let's do this.
Well, it's 4 in the morning in the back of the Beamer. Now, mama, what's up? I know that you're a schemer, but you can't be frontin' when it comes to this. Put down your back tricks, give me a kiss. I got a castle in Paris, got a crib in the city. I said I'd get you something nice, something pretty, and I did. And you liked it like that, to be so big and to be so fat. Because we
Oh, man, the great Bob Schneider. That's where Ty was last night. I'm assuming he didn't play this song last night. It is Residency at Saxon Pub.
Yeah, don't think so.
This would not be a Saxon Pub.
Oh, I mean,
tune.
he hit every vibe. He might have actually played. He was playing some Tejano music.
Turn that back up, little Bob Schneider.
He was rapping, telling jokes, playing slow, sad songs.
And you were with the boys.
Mandate.
Just boy.
Dude, one?
It's a one-on-one.
Dude with dude?
It's just a dude date.
Dude date?
On a
but
Monday night,
that's your cuddle buddy.
On a Monday
That's
night
fine.
residency with the great Bob Schneider and a residency there. He does on Mondays. I don't think he's making what the Vegas residencies get, but he's there. Decent crowd, pretty good
Yeah,
showing,
it's
turnout. Full. Bob's the best, and there's some Bob Schneider for you. Ty was on a mandate. Normally you take a lady to see Bob Schneider. Bob Schneider back in the day, Buck in the 90s, was the deal.
Could not find a lady.
Yeah, back in the day,
What do you
I
mean
had,
could not find a lady?
It was kind of last minute. So
I had my man friend back in the day, my buddy Danny back in
I
Pennsylvania.
mean, I've known this guy since elementary school.
Yeah, and so when
we're comfortable enough with each other to go to a concert
yeah,
together.
when Danny's parents would go to
That's just a night out with a buddy. That's not a
Yeah.
mandate. He didn't
3
go
weeks to
dinner.
California. Man, we slept in his mom and dad's bed. I mean, they had a king. They had a king. They had a monster king, and the imprints of our bodies, because we never showered, would be in the bed. When his mom would come back, she goes, "This guy's ever try to change the sheet or anything? We have clean sheets in there." And so I could see your arms and where you had your hand on the pillow and stuff. Yeah, I had a man buddy. But then I was very young at the time. I never had
Why'd you say it like that?
I mean, I wasn't 25 like you. I didn't have a man buddy like you
Hey,
had.
I went to a concert with a girl this weekend, so
That's true.
You're fine.
But
We know.
me and my buddy were saying last night, I was like, we might just have to do this once a week.
No, no. You know.
It becomes like a residency. Now we got a problem.
Talking about residency. No,
Oh,
man.
But remember Bob Schneider in the 90s, man. He was in a band called the Scabs. This dude was like, for chicks, man, every chick wanted Bob Schneider. Every chick wanted that dude.
The ladies were out for him last night.
Oh, man. I mean, it was... Remember, he dated Sandra Bullock for a while.
I did not know that.
Remember. Sandra Bullock. Remember Sandra Bullock was here and filming that show that they made down in... what's the town next to Bastrop? Smithville.
Smithville, yes.
Was that Hope Floats?
Hope Floats, yes.
Hope Floats. And so apparently she started...
They did some of
hooking
the
up
filming
with-
in Circle C when I lived out there.
Yeah. And, Bob Schneider was... If you go to a concert with your girlfriend at the time, like, she wanted to go home with Bob Schneider. Like, there was no doubt about that. Like, you were second place. 100%. But he's still doing it. Saxon Pub the other night. And
Says Adela's in residency in Vegas. She owns the whole floor. That's
go
a
to
whole
that.
floor deal.
I would go to that. Somebody texted. Remember we were talking about? It was last week when the week you were out. We had a day where we talked about we took Craig Way's music survey and had a couple of questions to borrow, and we talked about your favorite live show and maybe favorite surprising live show that you ever attended. And several people, actually 2 people, said Adele went to see her show in
Really?
Vegas and knew she was good, but never
I'd
knew
like to
how
see
good
that.
she was.
Mine's is still Prince. Prince
listen.
and the Return to Forever Tour in
he's-
Reunion Arena in
Hey.
Dallas, Texas.
That's yours.
That was mine.
Well,
He played all night long. That dude wouldn't quit playing.
It's one to find one that you know was going to be great. You've been chomping at the bit to see it, but then you find one. Like, you knew Adele was going to be good, but they were like, man, GOAT vocalist, like all time. Like, she is such a great singer, which she is. When you see a great, like sports or anything else, that's why music and sports cross over, because you're sharing the experience with a group, and when you see something really, really great, it's an awesome moment.
Yeah, it was. I mean, not only Prince was a great performer, but his band was unbelievable.
Just grooving all night.
That dude can play the guitar, but he was grooving. It was like 3.5 hours. I think Craig was at. As a matter of fact, Craig Way was at that concert at Reunion.
Yeah, you guys have shared that story.
Yeah, it was really.
Was it a mandate?
No, we weren't on a mandate. That was when Boston College was there. I think for the may have been for the Cotton Bowl.
Well, see, that's kind of a surprise show. You're there for a bowl game, and all of a sudden you end up at a Prince concert.
Yeah, I mean,
you knew it was going to be good, but that was like not planned.
I think he had his whole crew. I think Sheena E. that used to travel with him too.
Sheila E., yeah.
She was playing there. Wow.
Yeah. I like
Hot
this.
dog.
Good night.
How's she looking?
Man, she was looking beautiful.
I saw Sheila E. She is the niece of Alejandro Escovedo,
yeah.
the ACL Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at Moody Theater and he was being inducted into the ACL,
She there to play?
She played. She was playing drums. Yeah, she's born Sheila Cecilia Escovedo.
She can slam those drums now.
1957. Oh yeah, and it was really sweet because they're inducting someone into the Hall of Fame. So she spoke and talked about how her uncle was her inspiration to get into music because he was so musically inclined. Yeah, Sheila E.'s uncle is Alejandro Escovedo, and pretty cool. Tito Puente is their godfather. So yeah, man, very musical family there. But Sheila E. with Prince and. Prince, one thing with Prince is he was great at discovering young artists and helping develop young artists for sure, and was helping lift people up, which I always think is cool. All right, Sheila E. was the nastiest. Oh man, come on now.
There you go.
The nastiest.
No, she was like that. Huh?
Well, Prince's songs were very sexual and nasty,
erotic,
and she had to get into it a little bit. I'm saying
it was good. That was a great concert.
I bet it was. I never saw Prince in concert, unfortunately.
I mean, he came to Austin, and allegedly he went down to La Zona Rosa.
That was
after
our
a concert.
Friend Tom Gimbel was at that show.
Right, did he play like all night? I mean, what did he say? I got 1 million songs. I can play all night.
Tom Gimbel, remember our former live music update guy, who's now off in New York City doing great things. Nick Shuley, who's our new one, will be in tomorrow. But I think Nick went to that show too. I'll have to ask him tomorrow. But it wasn't even a show. It was South by Southwest, and he started playing at like midnight.
Yeah.
And then ended up playing till like 4 in the morning.
He was telling the crowd that, hey, I got a lot of hits.
And Tom
I can
was
play
like,
all night.
And it was cool. Tom was in line, and he said he saw because South by Southwest, there's so many artists in town. Like he saw Jim James from My Morning Jacket in line, and there's all these artists and frontmen, musicians that can't wait to go see the great Prince. So there you go. This says Sheila E. is also the aunt of Nicole Richie, daughter of Lionel. See? Music families.
There you go.
Yeah, that's how
Gotta know somebody.
Dancing on the ceiling.
Somebody said, breaking into a Bob Schneider concert of Nutty Brown is a staple of my childhood. See, when he played out at by your house.
I'm going to miss that Nutty Brown. I guess it's already gone.
You need to go by the HEB there.
Is the HEB? It's up.
It's open.
Right?
It's up and running.
It's up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's up and running.
Hey, what's
a monster
what's
out
old
there.
Bob Schneider's hair like? Is it still pretty coiffy, pretty full?
Yeah.
He has all kinds of different haircuts. Every time you see him, you'll see him.
It kind of resembled mine a little
flowy,
bit shorter. But...
Flowy. Did he tell jokes?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Big time jokes. His mom, he always tells the jokes about his mom who was a school teacher, and he's a funny dude, man.
Yeah,
he could be a stand-up comedian. He's also an artist. If you go down to GSD&M, Idea City, they have his art up down there. I mean, that guy's doing all kinds of things. Bob Schneider is an icon here in Central Texas.
Yeah, I got to ask our guy tomorrow, is Crazy Madonna still coming? Because, she's been ill.
I don't know.
She looks like an alien.
I know. I look under my bed every night just in case. She's hiding out underneath
her and
there.
Natalia.
It says Prince found and developed a young talent of Carmen Electra.
Bucky, did you hear there's a second part of the
No, there's not.
mysterious case of Natalia Grace?
She's now
Natalia
married.
Speaks.
Oh, she's going to tell the whole
story. She's got a new family
What do you mean a new family?
And her dad is a pastor.
She's like 30. She doesn't. She's got her own family.
No, someone else took her in.
Thinking that she was like 9. Oh, not
she says
again.
She's like, yeah, no.
I didn't watch that. I heard you guys talking about it, and that was enough
case
for me.
Scary, man.
Natalia Grace.
I'm out.
Natalia Speaks.
O-U-T. O-U-T. Okay, so all right, so a lot out there. We've got if you're looking around, Pat Fitzgerald fired, relieved of duties a couple days after being suspended for 2 weeks.
Dame Lillard's still looking for a place.
Yeah,
has he landed yet?
Well, so Dame Lillard, the general manager of the Portland Trail Blazers, had a press conference yesterday. He's pretty candid. He said, "I feel like I failed Dame. We didn't maximize, the best. We didn't put the right pieces around him." But he also said that we're not just going to trade him wherever he wants.
For free. He's not
going
going
to do what's best for our organization. He said it may take several months to trade Dame Lillard, and they're not going to limit themselves on who they'll trade him to, which I think is the right way to go. And I'd say this for anybody that's on Dame's side on that he has to go to Miami trade. You know how mad you would be if your favorite team trade anybody that would say that's not a Trailblazers fan, because if you are, you think of the Dallas Mavericks. You're not just going to trade Luka Doncic in a couple years if he wants out, and just because he wants to go there, you're going to do what's best for the team. And if you're a fan, you better expect that we're going to get max value for our best asset. That'd be crazy.
Get New York to trade everything for him.
That'd be great. And I think that's the press conference yesterday was a PR move to say, look, we're not in a rush here. We know what Dame wants.
He sounds like New York, huh?
Or to send him to Utah.
Yeah, I mean, you just
send him to Utah.
Danny Ainge has been collecting picks in Utah.
Also, we had yesterday Shohei Ohtani talked about his pending free agency. He reiterated that he wants to win. He's tired of losing. You know, that thing will percolate. That is going to be a
Does
huge
he still use an interpreter?
Mm-hmm. He could talk to you, but, you know, when you're doing media availabilities and things, it's a lot easier.
It's like Matsuyama, who, like when he won the Masters, like he knows English. But
but in that environment, you just don't want to say it's a second language or third language for a lot of these folks. Bob Huggins has released a statement saying that West Virginia released a false statement. Like they made it up. I think Bob's still drunk. I really do.
I'm still. He's not over that.
He's driving down to Dallas right now.
Oh
man!
You heard West Virginia was going to be there, so he needed.
He's going to talk with the AD.
Oh my goodness!
This says officially postponed. Madonna. Oh my gosh! Is that a real picture of Madonna right
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, she looks like Chucky.
You come in here at 4:30 in the morning, E. You better look under your car for that.
Madonna officially
That's why I
postponed for
slept
North America
the
too.
other night up here.
I think Madonna was a character in Game of Thrones.
No.
Oh my gosh!
Is she a White Walker?
I think so.
She's kind of scary.
It says Sheila E.'s father, Peter Escovedo, played percussion with Santana. Very musical family. How about Madonna has postponed her tour. Being amazing, Prince was performing Purple Rain at the Super Bowl. It was actually raining. Yeah, synergy there. Should be raining when you're performing.
Madonna has some viral deal going on. No telling what from.
Like literally viral. Like a virus.
Like virus. Yeah,
probably from all those injections. And
something's going on.
In her face.
Well, I read at one point she was on like life support. Well,
I mean, she was very sick.
Yeah, she was very sick with a viral infection, and that can get serious. I mean, I read where it was sepsis at one point. I mean, you get an infection in your blood. I mean, this thing goes quick. Things start shutting down. I mean, that's
why you got to watch out, Ty. That's stuff you were getting from wrestling.
If you go septic, man, that's major organs just start locking up, and that's
what was I getting from wrestling?
Didn't you have some kind of viral?
Oh no, my roommate had staph.
Staph. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's the thing, right? If staph infection, that can get in your blood, and never then it becomes a real problem.
I've been around a bunch of wrestlers that got staph one time, and it was like, get away from me.
I used to get athlete's foot in the locker room in high school. Bad.
Never had it.
Ugh.
You never had like the Northwestern thing, the naked wrestling in the shower?
No. I never had. I got the, what was it, the jock itch deal. How about that?
Hey, we'll be back. We got one more segment to go, and getting you ready for Big 12 football media days. We'll preview it coming up tomorrow and Thursday. Our live coverage begins, so we'll start to set the table for what is to come. It's B&E on the Horn. I'll bring it with some print to wrap up our portion of the day. Light the Tower coming up next. Jeff Howe, Cam Parker. I believe the return of Craig Way is coming over the next 2 days at Big 12 Football Media Days. And
Thursday, maybe?
I also know that Coach's School
is
next week. It's down in Houston this year. And so, yeah, high school, college coaches school, that's a big one with Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Craig and all that. So it really is the countdown to football season. It begins tomorrow, Big 12 Media Days. 7 teams, including Texas. 4 of the 5 Texas schools in the Big 12 will be there tomorrow. Longhorns and TCU taking center stage. Kansas will be there, which means the preseason Offensive Player of the Year, Jalen Daniels, will be there tomorrow, and the preseason Defensive Player of the Year in Jalen Ford. A couple of Jalens heading the way. Steve Sarkisian, of course. Sonny Dykes. There'll be a bigger spotlight on Sonny Dykes than we saw last year. I mean, it was a novelty last year, like how Sonny.
And he talked to everybody. He was making the rounds last year.
Now he's kind of an it deal. Kind of the it deal. Cover boy on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, national championship game, and his team picked to finish 5th. So there'll be some conversation.
Ooh, there will be.
That's tomorrow. Of course, we are not going to be there, but the midday shows and early afternoon shows will be up there. Getting all the information we need, bringing it back live, and putting on live guests and interviews. Always love that because you just never know who's going to sit down at our broadcast location and say hello. Coaches and players.
Cliff Kingsbury will not be there.
Cliff will not be. Well, maybe he'd be wandering around with his
friend.
That's
right.
girl.
He still needs a job, right?
No, he's working with Lincoln Riley. He's coaching. He has the tough job of coaching Caleb Williams.
Oh.
At quarterback.
Wasn't he hired by USC before that at one point and then took the Arizona job?
Yes.
He left Tech very briefly, or got fired by Tech.
He was hired as the
USC.
offensive coordinator by USC.
Yeah, and then went to Arizona. That was a weird transition.
One of the ultimate sports failing ups.
Man.
To get fired with a 10 games under 500.
He's got another shot.
And think about it. To go 35-45 coaching Texas Tech, not doing much, not even winning with Patrick Mahomes.
Being pretty will get you places.
And then
That's right.
Then getting a head coaching job in the NFL after being fired.
You always talk about how he smelled good, right?
Oh,
he's a pretty man.
Like a tossed salad, Buck used to say.
Yeah, he is. He smelled really fresh. I mean, if you went by him, it was like.
I think that's true. It's not like an aroma, like a perfume or a cologne.
There you go. He said you noticed that
was
too.
A freshness.
Now there's something fresh about him. When he went past, it was like you could feel the like going outside this room right here. It's freezing cold out here.
What is Bob Cole's?
It wasn't
Cool Blue commercial.
It wasn't Blue Velvet or whatever.
We'll have full sports
Aqua
coverage
Velvet.
of that tomorrow. Big 12 Media Day is brought to you by our friends at Hay City Store and Ice House Travis and Tamra. And thank you so much to them. My friend Richard with One Source Gas.
Awesome.
All of your compressed gas needs, CO2. You need it, he's got it. And we'll be up there. Also tomorrow, I'm going to ask the question to Ranger fans because I'm reading this Shohei Ohtani interview where it's making it sound more and more like I'm tired of losing. If you're a Texas Ranger fan and you could put a package together that included your draft pick, Will Langford, you just made it, Jack Leiter, some top prospects, to get Shohei Ohtani and make a run.
Take that bum you got from Mets, throw him in there.
And here's the question, because the Rangers have a package they could put together that the Angels would have to consider because they've got a great farm system. They just added a stud.
Are you guaranteeing something for me?
Yeah, if it guarantees you win the World Series this year.
Yes.
And then take your chances with Ohtani beyond it.
I'm in.
I'll be all in. Championship now.
Legends never die.
Well, because remember, Ohtani comes in to the best lineup in baseball and brings a huge bat. And he also can pitch.
Yes.
Forgot about that.
All in.
Make it happen.
Ah, man, would you do
I
it?
doubt the Angels are going to do it within the division.
Well, you better win the championship because
that's true.
Can you re-sign him for $500 or $600 or $700 mil? Hey, have a great Tuesday, Buck. Be safe out there, man.
All right, guys.
Get 'em
Be
straight.
careful.
Every hour podcast at hornfm.com. We'll do it again tomorrow, 6 a.m.